Dropshipping is more than just a buzzword. It's a business revolution that's enabled thousands to launch successful stores worldwide. First and foremost is the passive income potential of this business model, right? Imagine a business that makes money for you even when you're asleep, even when you're spending time with loved ones or vacationing or whatever. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's not. With dropshipping, this is a reality. It also has the middleman advantage, as I call it. So as a dropshipper, you're essentially the bridge between the wholesaler and the customer. You basically showcase products on your website, and then when a customer buys them, you earn the profit or the difference in price from the wholesaler to the customer. There's also low risk, but high potential reward. Traditional businesses require a significant capital investment upfront, potentially in inventory or warehousing or a store or whatever, you name it. But with dropshipping, the risk is minimized since you don't stock any products, you don't need a store, you only buy a product when you have the order confirmed. So why Shopify, right? Well, Shopify stands alone as the best dropshipping website when you're trying to launch your e-commerce brand. It's user-friendly. Even if you have zero technical skills, you can still build a highly profitable, high quality looking dropshipping store with Shopify. It's easy to set up the store. It's easy to run the store. It's easy to process the orders. It's easy to make changes on the go if you need to. It's very beginner friendly. It's also super cost effective too, right? With various different plans to choose from, but you can get started for just $39.99 and run your entire store from that. And don't worry, I also have access for you for a completely free trial and then $3 for the next 90 days after that. So don't worry, we're talking super cheap, especially when you compare it to other businesses. The cost and risk are completely different. Shopify's ecosystem is also the biggest, right? The integrations are vast, from apps that automate your business to those that enhance the customer's experience to those that process orders. It's a one-stop solution with many different options. So the journey that we have for this specific course in a nutshell, right? First and foremost, we're going to set your Shopify store up. We begin at the very beginning. I'll guide you through the step-by-step process to setting up your own Shopify store and how to pick different specific products. We're going to cover niche selection, so it's vital to obviously find a niche that resonates with your passion, but also has a big enough market demand so that you can get sales. I'll reveal the secrets to picking an irresistible niche that customers flock to. We'll also cover product selection. Not every single product that you're going to list sells, but I will teach you how to identify the winners from the vast sea of losers and other options. Then we'll cover how to optimize, right? Because it's not just about listing products, slapping it up on a Shopify store, and now you're a millionaire. It's about presenting the products in a way that compels the visitor to buy once they land on your shop. We'll delve deep into conversion optimization and making your store look great. Then the fun stuff. We'll cover automation, inventory management, order processing, all that stuff. It can be fully automated so you don't have to do anything. The beauty of dropshipping is indeed the automation. We'll explore software solutions that manage literally everything. Then we'll cover driving traffic and scaling your store. A store without visitors is kind of like a car without fuel, right? It's not gonna go anywhere. So we'll discuss the proven strategies to drive traffic and upscale your business, from free organic traffic to paid advertising on several different platforms. We'll cover it all. Ultimately, the world of dropshipping is vast and its potential is immense. And it's only going to grow and get bigger as e-commerce continues to grow, as it does year in and year out and has for the past decade or so. This is going to be a journey of discovery, of learning, but most importantly, action. Every big store, every big success, it starts with a single step. So are you ready to take yours? If so, let's hop in and get started. So what is dropshipping and what is Shopify, right? We're going to answer both those questions in this video so you can understand the power of them when they're both combined. First and foremost, what's dropshipping for those of you that don't know? Well, at its core, dropshipping is an e-commerce business model where you, the store owner, don't keep or hold any of the products that you're selling in stock. Instead, when a customer places the order, you then buy the stock from a third party, often a manufacturer or a wholesaler, and have it shipped directly to the customer. So the most defining characteristic here is that you don't ever touch or see the product typically. Your role is primarily to facilitate the sale between the customer and the manufacturer. And you obviously keep the markup and profit for yourself. Now, what are some of the benefits and advantages of dropshipping versus other e-commerce business models? Well, first and foremost, there's low initial capital needed to start it, right? Starting a business typically requires a lot of significant investment. However, with dropshipping, you don't need to invest heavily in stock up front. You only need to purchase a product when you've secured a sale, which minimizes all your financial risks. There's also flexibility in your product offerings, right? You can test and change the products that you offer without much hassle at all. If a product isn't selling, well, you can simply stop listing it and move on to something else. If there's a new trend, you can add it to your store quickly and start selling that product as well. It also reduces overhead. Since you're not holding any of the inventory or dealing with any packaging or often shipment, operational costs are relatively low and you don't need a big warehouse to store inventory. This flexibility allows you to operate from virtually anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. And one of my favorite parts is the scalability of this business model. Unlike traditional businesses where more sales mean more work, often a bigger team and more expenses, with dropshipping, a lot of the shipment and order processing is done by the suppliers, and you really only need to manage it from the back end of your store. Now that we covered what dropshipping is and the benefits of it, what is Shopify? Well, Shopify, if you don't know, is the leading e-commerce platform that allows individuals and businesses to create their online stores. Think of it kind of as like the foundation in which you can build your online retail empire on. It's the site builder essentially that allows you to create these high quality looking stores, but it then also integrates with a lot of the top dropshipping apps so you can automate a lot of this process once your store is set up. Now, the benefits of using Shopify are that it's user friendly because with Shopify, you don't need to be a tech wizard. The platform is literally designed for those without a tech background, and it's really easy to customize your website with the different templates that they already have ready made. All you pretty much need to do is select one and then drag and drop things around and position them how you think looks good. It also has integrated payments because nobody likes dealing with collecting payments, and this removes the hassle of setting up third-party payment processors so that Shopify pretty much handles all that for you and you don't have to worry about connecting with PayPal, connecting with Stripe, and then keeping your accounts in good standing all the time. Another key benefit is its mobile responsiveness too. As mobile shopping continues to grow, having a platform that can be optimized easily for mobile is absolutely crucial. And Shopify ensures that your store looks great and functions smoothly on all devices, not just computers. It also has a vast range of apps and plugins like we've touched on before, right? From inventory management to marketing tools to automating order fulfillment to automating customer service, it has everything. Of course, you can do a lot of these things manually on Shopify as well, but as you scale, you want to start automating more and more of this so it takes less time and you don't need to do anything else. As your sales increase, your time spent on it does not. We all know that e-commerce is booming. That is a fact. And as technology advances and traditional retail faces more and more challenges, online shopping is steadily becoming the norm for more and more people. Plus, it's actually more convenient, clearly, and believe it or not, it's more affordable due to it not having to compete solely within a small market or a small local town, because online you're competing with everybody in a global marketplace, so the customer wins. Hence why e-commerce will only continue to grow. Now, dropshipping coupled with platforms like Shopify allows for a quick entry into the e-commerce space. And here's why you should care and why it's a great opportunity for you to carve out your piece of this e-commerce pie. Now, as we mentioned, dropshipping demands less capital than traditional models, and platforms like Shopify further simplify the process, allowing anybody that has an entrepreneurial spirit to dive into e-commerce extremely easily. On top of that, it's only going to grow. Online retail is not just a trend, it's the future. And actually it's right now as well, but it's also the future. Global e-commerce sales are projected to keep growing and growing and growing, indicating that there's massive potential for businesses that are still coming into the space right now. The digital nature of this business model means you can operate your business from anywhere, which gives you flexibility and freedom, right? You want to take that vacation with the kids and the wife? You could do that. You want to take little Johnny to soccer practice while your store's running itself? Again, you can do that. There's flexibility and freedom with an e-commerce store. Now, obviously, with that said, there's always challenges with any business. No business is without these challenges. While dropshipping does reduce some of the barriers, competition can be fierce sometimes, especially as you enter and you're not a master yet. It does require dedication, does require market research, and it does require constant learning and adjusting. That's exactly what we're going to cover more of, and how to pick the right products so you're not competing with too many people. We'll cover how to automate pretty much all of this, and we'll cover how to make customers happy and get get them their orders in timely fashion. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to cover all that and more, so do not worry if you don't know much about it at all. Ultimately, though, dropshipping and Shopify offer like a synergistic combination for those of you that are looking to venture into e-commerce. It's really easy to start, has really low startup costs, and is beyond simple. So if you're looking to embrace the future of retail and e-commerce, there's never been a better time than right now.
One issue that most dropshippers face is collecting their money on time. You'll notice that when you drop ship on places like TikTok Shop or Shopify or really wherever, you typically don't get paid right away. You need to wait for the payment processor to release the funds that they collected from that buyer's card. This can bootstrap your growth because you often need to front the money for orders well before you get paid back for them, which can cause some stores to spend less on ads or less on video content or even pause their shops altogether until they collect the money back so that they can place more orders again in the future. A good problem to have, no doubt, because that means you're obviously getting orders. But what if there was a way to get paid a lot faster by these payment processors like PayPal? That would mean that you wouldn't have to wait as long to collect your profit, and your business would cash flow much more efficiently. PalTrack is a Shopify app that you can add to your store with the click of a button that will automatically sync tracking numbers for your fulfilled orders to PayPal, which ultimately minimizes the time that it will take PayPal to release your funds. It can even help prevent that dreaded PayPal funds hold from ever happening to you in the first place. In short, it's going to help you get paid faster by automatically informing PayPal that the order has been shipped out and then provide them with that corresponding tracking number for that order as proof, all for you automatically. This is one of the coolest solutions that I've seen for a problem that dropshippers are constantly complaining about. So if you'd like to try PalTrack, you can do so completely free through the first link in the description. If you want to access your funds faster, which who doesn't, it's a no-brainer.
When I first dipped my toes into the world of online selling, I quickly realized that the traditional bulk buying methods were really risky. Investing all your savings in inventory for a product that might not even sell and you're not really sure about yet, it sounds like a fast track to failure. But here's the smarter way to actually do it, with micro experiments, and that's where dropshipping comes in. It lets you sell products without buying them first. You list items, and when a customer buys, you then order the product using their money and address, and you keep the profit. It allows you to test the waters before diving headfirst into the deep end. And the only initial cost might be some marketing expenses here and there, or maybe some time or effort spent creating content to get some feedback and then hopefully some sales. Now, using TikTok organically as well as other social media, for example, can eliminate startup costs for you. All you need to do to start is source a product and make engaging content to see if it actually clicks with people and the audience that you want to target. You can also use Instagram Reels, like I said, YouTube Shorts, Pinterest to test products. There's a number of them, all with organic opportunity to test content to see if you can get sales. And we'll cover a lot more on that later on after we get your store set up and you're ready to start testing products. There is one hiccup though. When sourcing from China or Russia or India or other countries, when you're drop shipping in the US or the UK or Europe or wherever, can often lead to longer shipping times. And let's be honest, nobody likes waiting, so you might end up with annoyed customers. But remember, at the start, we're just looking for signs that people like the products and that there's interest in market demand. Once you know it's a hit, that's when you take the next step to speed up the delivery and improve the customer experience. But initially, in the beginning, I do suggest using AliExpress and overseas suppliers if you need to. They do have a vast product range and some of the best prices, which is crucial for keeping your profit margins healthy and allowing you to test easier. When doing this though, you should expect shipping times from anywhere to 2 to 4 weeks for most Western countries, which is not ideal, but it's fine for the product testing phase in the beginning. Remember, we're not staying here long term. This is just in the beginning. Now, if you're worried about long shipping times, you could initially order a small batch, say 20 to 30 units from AliExpress, and then ship it to your home. Or you could specifically sort for warehouses that are within your country already. So for example, if I wanted to list AliExpress products that had decent enough margin to work with, but I didn't want my customers to wait 2 2 to 4 weeks, then I would just go to AliExpress, find products within my niche that I wanted to sell, and sort it for only the US warehouses and use those suppliers. Typically, these warehouses will have a slightly higher cost built into your products just because they're accounting for the shipping and the import fees already associated with these products, but it can certainly be a smarter way to test in the beginning. Honestly, either will work though. Remember, like I said, in the beginning, we are not building out an amazing store, an amazing product, and an amazing brand that customers return back and back to. We are simply testing to see what resonates with our customers and our target base, so we can then, at that point, invest more time and effort into improving our product and the ultimate offer to the customer, the shipping time, the quality of the product, maybe a bundle, etc., etc. Now, there are alternatives like CJ Dropshipping, Zendrop, or USA Drop, to name a few, which offer quicker shipping times but at a higher price. And all of these are solid suppliers that you can use that offer similar products and similar prices. And any of them will work, but since the majority of people typically start with AliExpress, and because it's typically the easiest to use in the beginning with software to pretty much streamline everything, including order processing, adding products, adding reviews to your store, AliExpress is what I'll show you with in the beginning. Also remember, in the dropshipping game, profit margins are king. They allow you to spend more on marketing to get in front of your customers so you can test products a lot faster and get results and get to the ultimate end goal faster. And obviously they allow you more built-in wiggle room to make mistakes and make more money when you do get it right. Now, once your daily orders consistently for a 2 to 3 week period get to about 3 to 5 a day for a specific product, at that point you can start worrying about sourcing it from China and potentially getting a sourcing agent. At that point, a sourcing agent can score you prices that are up to 20 to 30% cheaper than AliExpress, for example, and they can even get you faster shipping times like Express, which can deliver in 5 to 10 days and not 2 to 3 weeks. They can even help get custom branding for a more personalized customer experience. But I just wanted to touch on this. This is a problem for when you get to that ultimate 3 to 5 daily orders goal for a consistent period of time. This is not in the beginning, okay? Do not try to run before you walk, and don't try to walk before you crawl. I just wanted to cover the overall process so you understand the ultimate end goal, right? This is not where we're going to stay forever. We're not drop shipping from AliExpress from China forever. Is just to test in the beginning. Now, when you do get to that point is where you start to build a real brand. When your orders become consistent, consider then focusing on local fulfillment, and you can even buy products in bulk and ship from your location, your country, or use a 3PL to do it for yourself, which, if you're not familiar, is just a prep center that will handle all the logistics, the packaging, and the shipping for you. When that happens, you can get delivery times from 2 to 7 days. 2 to 5 days is probably more realistic, but I just wanted that built-in buffer zone so you kind of curb your expectations a bit. And obviously this will improve the customer experience going forward, which will increase reviews, future sales, your brand's reputation, and kind of increase that snowball effect that will really build your long-term sales with that product. So there you have it. It's a comprehensive guide to mastering order fulfillment and give you the overview of the correct process to follow for your e-com business and why we drop ship in the beginning. We'll cover all this and more in the future, starting with drop shipping to move up to local fulfillment, organic traffic, running ads, and ultimately building your long-term brand with a successful product that you have. Each step is designed to reduce the risk, save you money, and build a brand customers love the correct way. Remember, it's all about being smart with your resources and scaling up at the right pace. Now, one of the first and most crucial steps when starting a drop shipping business is picking the right supplier. Now, let me break it down for you with my top supplier recommendations that are perfect for beginners when starting this. First and foremost, you obviously have AliExpress. This is the one that everybody talks about, everybody knows. It's the giant starter that everybody uses. Now, AliExpress is based in China. It's essentially the playground for drop shippers. It's packed with millions of products and a vast network of suppliers that sell pretty much everything. Why do I recommend AliExpress first for most people? It's because it's perfect for beginners. You'll find a variety of products to experiment with and understand what works best for your store. However, remember that shipping, like I said originally, can take 2 to 4 weeks depending on your specific product. So secondly, we have CJ Dropshipping, which is a more speedy, similar alternative. If faster delivery time is what you're after, then CJ Dropshipping is probably your go-to. On average, they deliver in about 1 to 2 weeks, which is much quicker than AliExpress in the grand scheme of things with most products. But the catch is that their pricing might be a little bit higher, so your margins won't be as good. You won't be able to spend as much on marketing if you're running ads. And so it allows you to test less products if you have a specific budget. But if speedy delivery tops your priority list, then this is a great consideration that you might want to look into. The next one is fast shipping with Zendrop, which has US fulfillment. Now, Zendrop steps the shipping game up with speed a lot better because they have their own fulfillment centers in the US. This means that some products can be delivered in like 5 to 8 days, which is almost as good as when you do it yourself with a 3PL. While Zendrop is pricier than both AliExpress and CJ Dropshipping, the US-based fulfillment is a much bigger plus for quicker delivery times. You won't have any upset customers, you'll get reviews a lot faster, and there are benefits to approaching it this way. Next is Spocket when you don't want to use China and you really want to focus on US and Europe suppliers. So, for example, if you're drop shipping in the UK or all over Europe, Spocket might be a great supplier for you. They also have US warehouses as well. With Spocket, you're looking at about 1 week shipping times to get products to your customers, no matter if you're in the US or you're anywhere in Europe. And this could be a great fit if you're looking to aim your offer at quicker deliveries and have a little bit more budget flexibility. Last but not least, we have USA Drop, which you can really get like 2 to 4 day shipping if you're in the US because they have tons of warehouses within the US. If your customer base is mainly in the US and you plan on drop shipping here, and you want to impress with lightning fast delivery that kind of competes with Amazon Prime, this supplier might be your best bet. Summing it up though, for most people, AliExpress is probably a great place to start. When you're starting your dropshipping journey, choosing the right supplier is key. Each of these offers different benefits, from the vast product range that AliExpress has to the US-based shipping of Zendrop and USA Drop. You ultimately just want to weigh the pros and cons, like cost versus shipping speed, and pick which aligns best with your business goals. Remember, your choice of supplier can greatly influence your customer satisfaction and your overall success of your dropshipping venture. But it might be beneficial to test several different ones to see what works best for you. Starting your dropshipping journey can be extremely exciting, but one of the first big steps is picking the right niche. Now, let me guide you through this process in a simple and straightforward way. Step one is to dive into the AliExpress categories and kind of see what's there. AliExpress is a treasure trove for dropshipping niches, and here's how you can use it to find yours. First, start exploring the specific categories on the website. It's like a window into the vast world of products that you're able to sell. You want to look for a niche that's broad and scalable. Think about what people buy all the time. You want something that has a constant demand, because if you go too narrow into a super sub niche, there's not going to be enough product demand to sell enough of that to even figure out if you have a good product or not. But once you do find a good broad category that you're interested in, like beauty or health or hair, for example, then you dive into the subcategories to get a little bit more niche down. But again, don't go too far. For example, within the beauty and health category, you could focus specifically on healthcare products or personal care for women. Focus on one area with one sub niche and grow from there. For instance, if you chose healthcare, then your store could have a collection of different healthcare products, not just one or two. And this approach helps you build a focused but yet diverse store that caters to a specific needs of a broader category. And it allows you to list dozens, if not hundreds of different products to test. It also might be beneficial to start with something that you know a lot about already and that you're interested in. One of the easiest ways to get a leg up on your competitors is to sell something that you already know and care about. Not only will that give you a competitive advantage, but the work won't feel as much like work, which will allow you to then work harder, longer, without as much effort, which is a major advantage. That said, keep in mind that your interests must also have products that actually get sales in them. If you're interested in twig whittling, for example, that's great, but nobody's buying products on that. It's not going to work. It's a balance of mixing it all, but then keeping this in mind, because if you can leverage your interests and your prior knowledge, you'll have a much easier time. Plus, you'll be able to speak to your target customer a lot better with your marketing and your landing pages because you are your target customer. Step 2 is to then move to Amazon and do pretty much the same thing. Amazon, being the largest e-commerce platform, is another great place to find niches. From the homepage, you can explore all the categories and all the departments. Again, browse the main niches like beauty and health, and then find sub-niches like men's grooming or supplements. And from there, pick a niche within Amazon's departments. It's a great way to gauge what's popular and what might work with your store. Both AliExpress and Amazon are the broadest and best that will give you a clear view of the market overall and what's trending. By exploring these specific platforms, you can identify niches and sub-niches that have a steady demand and are scalable. You can also get lots of different niches to start exploring. When picking your dropshipping niche, think long-term though. Choose a category with ongoing demand and the potential to scale. Dive into sub-niches and find specific areas that you can focus on and grow, whether it's beauty products, tech gadgets, or pet supplies. The perfect niche for your store is out there. It just takes some time to research and ultimately find it. And again, pair it with your interests and your prior knowledge. All right, so now we're going to build the entire Shopify store from scratch. Now, I've already created an email for the store, so let's get started. If you want to use Shopify, and as you see here, you want a free trial, you can try it for just $1 for the first 3 months. It's attached to this lecture, and that's super cheap. It's the best discount that you can start with that you can find out there, all right? So let's plug in the email, and we'll click Start Free Trial. Now, they're going to ask you a few different questions during the startup process here, but I'm going to skip them because they don't really require a lot of teaching and a lot of upfront knowledge, right? Just answer them or skip them. When choosing a store name, keep in mind that the name you enter here won't be displayed to the public, okay? You're going to have a different domain for that. So for now, let's just use, let's say, doglovers.shopify.com as the store name. Here you want to select United States or obviously wherever you'd like to sell from as the location, and then continue with the email that you've provided. Create a strong password clearly and set up your Shopify ID. Now remember that you can have multiple stores under one Shopify account for better organization, and that way you can test many different niches and many different products. And trust me, this is the best way to go ultimately. You don't want to have dozens of Shopify accounts with different usernames and passwords. It's a complete headache. As you can see, it's starting to build the store, and once it's done loading, we can then move on to the back end of the Shopify platform. So the back end here is where you're going to handle everything related to your Shopify store, like fulfilling orders, adding any apps that you might want in the future, and we'll cover several, and editing anything that goes along with your store. So first, let's go to settings on the bottom left, as you can see here, and we're going to go through a few things together. In the store's detail section, you can provide basic information about your store, including its name, its address, and its contact details. Now, I recommend using a virtual mailing address and having a separate email for customers to see. This is going to help you maintain professionalism and keep notifications separate if you have multiple Shopify accounts. Adding a phone number is also advisable, and using a Google Voice can be beneficial if you want to go this route. But another great one that you should look into is also called Text Now. It's super cheap. It's $1 to maintain every single month after that. And I've done a few different tutorials on how you can set one of these numbers up using Text Now. So if you need some more guidance on it and you want to learn, just search for Brian Guerra Text Now on YouTube, and it should pop up. Also, when you do consider putting your email in here, make sure that your email doesn't scream like scammy. I surprisingly see tons of dropshipping stores set up with like doglovers12894@gmail.com. And if that's your store email address and customers are seeing that or something like that, don't do that. Trust me, spend a few extra dollars when you're setting up your store and get a professional email with your domain name that you've already paid for. It's worth it. And customers won't go running for the hills when they see your store's email. Now, currency here, I'm going to select US dollars because I'm in the United States. And you could do the same exact thing unless you have a specific reason to select another currency, but that's really up to you. Now, moving on to the plan here. The benefit of the link that I attached, right, is that you can sign up for $1 for the first 3 months, right? So that's $3 total. And that gives you so much time to test products, test different niches, and build related theme pages, and even start running ads potentially. So that way you're not out a lot of money trying to test store after store after store. Instead, you have a 3-month window for $3, $1 a month, to get this working and figuring it out, or at the very least, master it And if you're constantly like using all the information in this course and taking action and learning and adapting, there's no way that you can't get your first sale in those 3 months. If you don't, you're doing something very wrong. So sign up for that. And that's really the plan that you want to go with initially. But obviously, once your 3-month window is up, what plan do you go with? Well, the basic plan is $29 per month. And it's recommended for most people to start with this plan because you can always upgrade to the higher plans later as you get more orders. But for now, the basic plan is going to be fine. So when you choose your plan after those 3 months are up, just go with basic. As you can see here, it's $1 for the first 3 months when you sign up through the link. Then it's going to be $29 a month after that, which again is not that expensive. Now, under users and permissions, as the store owner, you can add staff accounts. The basic plan allows you to add up to 2 staff accounts, which can be useful, honestly, if you're collaborating with somebody else to build stores, or you need assistance with like website development. For example, if you have a virtual assistant to help process orders, that's another place that you might want to add them. So they don't constantly have to use your computer and your login. They can log into their own account and sign into the back end of your store with the specific permissions that you set them up, right? You add staff here, it's very easy, and you can select the different things that they're allowed to have access to. So if you have a virtual assistant that's processing orders, well, then you just grant them order capability in the back end. Now let's proceed to the payment section. So you want to activate Shopify payments. This is the most common payment processor. It offers regular credit card transactions, and it's really beneficial to link your bank account for verification once you set that up. It's very easy and very self-explanatory. You should also consider adding PayPal as a payment option as well. It's going to allow you to build trust with a lot of people that visit your site because a lot more people are comfortable using PayPal knowing that they have that extra built-in protection of going through the middleman, which is PayPal, and not giving some random website their credit card information, right? So obviously Shopify payments is the best way, but also consider offering PayPal for added trust, but also added sales. So now let's move on to the checkout settings. And whether or not you want to have the customer log in and have their own checkout account is going to depend on the nature of your product, obviously. If you're offering subscriptions, then customer accounts and customer logins can be useful so that they can manage that, right? But if you're drop shipping or just selling like a few products on your store, or even if you're having like a general store, and we'll cover all that in the future, it's not really going to be necessary. So for 99.999% of you watching, you're not going to add this. Make sure to include both the phone number and email as the customer contact methods. And you might want to think about linking the Shop app for shipping updates, and that can help enhance the customer experience. That way they can track their orders really easily. And in a lot of ways, it's really going to help reduce customer service questions and inquiries as well, which might not really sound like a lot, but as you scale and do more and more volume, it can get really time consuming when you have a lot of orders. Now in the customer information section here, remember to collect both first and last names for order fulfillment purposes. The company name's optional. You don't need to put that in unless you're targeting specific B2B customers and your product ends up being towards, B2B. But for the majority of you, again, this is not going to be you. Address line 2 should be marked as optional in case you're selling to somebody that's living in an apartment, so they can put their apartment specific address in there. Now, phone numbers you can keep as optional as well. I wouldn't recommend making these required, but it is something that you might want to think about in the future for SMS marketing. That way, even if you don't add this in the beginning, you might want to eventually add it in the future. That way you can remarket different products to past customers and increase the lifetime value of each customer and each order. Now, as we scroll down to order processing, it's essential to not fulfill orders automatically. Make sure that this is checked. This prevents sending false notifications to customers before the order is actually shipped. And we'll cover all that later, don't worry, but make sure that you do not have this automatically fulfilled. Moving on to marketing options now, you can collect the email and the SMS if you want for marketing purposes. Like I covered before, you really only need the email. Now, pre-selecting email during checkout might vary based on the legal requirements in the countries that you're selling or operating in, so consider that. I'm not an expert in every single country, but as a rule of thumb, this is typically okay for most countries, so make sure that you at least check it in yours. You can leave the other options on this page blank. Now, as you move on, make sure that you're saving your progress. And so now we're going to proceed to shipping and delivery. This step's often overlooked, but it's critical. So you want to set up your shipping methods to the top 5 countries that you want to ship to. For example, United States, United Kingdom, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada, right? Those are the main 5. Make sure that you configure the shipping settings properly to avoid any checkout issues. So now let's edit the shipping rate, and we're going to start fresh by deleting the existing shipping rate. So just 3 buttons here and delete it. It's not really going to matter specifically for a lot of our different shipping options because we're going to be drop shipping and we're not shipping products ourselves. So it's not going to be a variable cost a lot of times. Now you want to click add rate and set it as free shipping. Make sure this is $0 and free. Keep in mind that if you have specific weight on the product, it might not work for checkout, but for most of the time, the product weight is also going to be set to 0. Save the changes. And obviously, if there's different shipping rates for different countries, then label them accordingly to avoid confusion and, customer service issues. But for 99.999% of you, again, it's not going to be variable. Excuse me, it's not going to be variable. It's going to be the same because we're drop shipping from AliExpress or similar websites. So moving on to taxes and duties now. It's recommended to consult obviously with a tax professional and research the laws in your country to ensure compliance, but update the tax settings accordingly. For most people, this is either going to be set up through your personal details or a business that you've opened it with and that you own. You don't really need to overthink this. And if you really don't know, then I would just recommend at least looking into it a little bit further and including tax in all prices. Now, in the location section, there's no need to change anything unless you're shipping from a specific warehouse that you own, right? If you have a 3PL, for example, as you scale, that might be something that you add here. Or if you're selling your own products, but for the majority of you, again, 99.999% of you, you're not going to own a warehouse, you're not shipping from a specific warehouse, and your shipping location is going to change. And for most dropshipping cases, you can just leave this section as is. The next section is gift cards, and you can offer these if you want to, but it's optional. It's more commonly used in like clothing stores and similar businesses. I've personally never offered gift cards, but it's an option that you can consider. Some people choose to. Now let's talk about the domains, right? It's important to have a custom domain instead of the default Shopify domain. You can purchase a new domain from Shopify and other providers like GoDaddy. So Shopify offers domains for around $14 per year, and it's super easy to connect to your store. So if you just buy a new domain, they'll make it super easy on you. For most beginners, this is the best and easiest option to choose. I've personally used GoDaddy from each time because I already have a GoDaddy account and I get discounts recommended to me frequently as they try to upsell me and resell me on buying more domains. So for that, if you're using GoDaddy or any other domain purchaser, you would connect an existing domain here. But again, it's also super easy. Once you buy a specific domain name from GoDaddy in this specific example, but honestly, any of those websites, they'll typically walk you through the exact steps on that website to connect that to your store. It's not difficult. They have videos and step-by-step instructions that will show you. It's easy, but it just adds another step. So if you want to avoid that, then go buy a new domain right from Shopify. Make sure to choose a domain name that obviously fits your store and fits your brand. So for example, like alldoglovers.com would fit this one. If you move on now into customer events, this is going to involve adding pixels for different social media platforms like Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, or even Pinterest. Each platform has its own pixel code, which you can add later on once you start running ads. In the brand section, you can leave that as custom unless you have a well-established brand with specific logos and colors, but most of you won't. Notifications are important also as they're going to determine like what customers and you receive based on different actions. So pay attention to the shipping updates notification and make sure that the tracking link corresponds with the exact shipping method that you plan on using. So for example, like if you're using UPS tracking, then make sure that the link provided in the notification leads to the UPS tracking website and vice versa for USPS or UPS or whatever. Languages are going to play an important role also, especially if you're selling and shipping to non-English speaking countries. So you can add languages in settings here. And all that's going to do, for example, is if you have somebody browsing from a Spanish speaking country or any other country with a language that you're using, it's just going to automatically translate the page for users that prefer that language. For worldwide sales, you might want to add multiple languages, but for the majority of you, you're just probably going to be selling to the top 5 English speaking countries. So keeping this English is fine, but if you want to add a language like French for Canadians or Spanish for Spanish-speaking countries in South America, that might be something that you want to consider as well. So moving on to the last one, which is policies here. This section is absolutely crucial and it's often overlooked as well. It's going to include refund policies, privacy policies, terms of service, and shipping information. And typically Shopify is going to give you templates for these policies, which you can just choose, unless you want to create one yourself, or if you already have a template that somebody's recommended for you. So if you need one suggested for you, just click Create from Template, and it's going to start auto-populating it, as you can see here, with your email in there. Just make sure that you insert where it tells you to insert, This is the return address. So make sure that you don't just auto-populate these and then don't read through them, or it'll be evident that you obviously didn't personalize it. So make sure that you're reading through these and inserting the specifics for your business where it says insert. And you can do this for each one. And again, just make sure that you personalize them. Now, if we X out of settings after we save everything and you come back down here to online store, we're going to go through themes. So in the theme customization section, you're going to start with the home page. The header is obviously where you set the logo and customize the logo with, and you can add menu items. You can use websites like Canva to design a logo that aligns with your brand, and Canva is super easy to use and it's free, so it's highly recommended. The homepage layout is going to consist of sections like the announcement bar, the featured product image, or the banners, or however you set it up. And you can customize these sections according to your preference and obviously your product selection, so it's going to depend. Now, once you pick a theme, and obviously the majority of you are going to go with 3 themes here, they can all really do a decent job. If you want to upgrade, you can visit the theme store, but it's not necessary. So just pick a theme and then customize it here. And that's going to take you to the point where you can actually customize the different parts of your page. So for the featured product image here, select an image that fits your theme. You can use a free stock image from websites like Pexels or Pixabay. Just make sure that the image showcases the products that you plan to sell effectively. So if you plan on dropshipping electronics, don't have a water bottle here, and vice versa. Replace the default image banner with the feature of a product image that fits your brand and what you're going to be dropshipping. Or at the very least, a lifestyle picture of somebody utilizing something similar. Add text sections here to provide information about your brand's mission, your values, and unique selling points, so you can add text. Another thing to consider here is keeping the email list. Now, this is going to depend on your main goals, right? This can be placed at the bottom of the homepage if you want it. It isn't needed at all in the beginning, but often as you start and scale, find a product that works, you'll want to consider adding one eventually, if not, or if you don't already have it on your homepage, because it can help you capture email leads to market to later on, and it can help you make your ads more profitable once you start running them. One last thing that you might want to consider is adding testimonials to the homepage. So you can add a section that highlights the core values of your company, but also add testimonials. You can grab these directly off AliExpress for the products that you're selling. Very easy, or you can just make them up yourself. It's up to you. I'm going to start here and customize everything. It's really going to depend on what you plan on dropshipping. If you don't really have an idea in mind about what products you're going to dropship yet, just keep this super broad in the beginning. It's not really the be all end all, right? Remember, the homepage and really the site in general doesn't have to be perfect, since it's not typically the landing page for your product, especially in the beginning. It's something that you can improve going forward, and I'll touch on different techniques for this in the future. I just wanted to touch on the broad setup for it. Just get it up and running first. More importantly, you're going to want to focus on creating killer product pages, and that's what we're mainly going to be focused on, because that's what's going to convert to customers, and really it's where 99% of your customers are going to land before deciding whether or not to purchase. However, your homepage obviously should still look appealing and provide essential information about what your brand is and what you sell, but you can always come back and refine and improve this later on, so don't overthink it and waste too much time on it when starting, especially when you're not even sure what products are going to work for you or what you're going to dropship yet. You might think that you're going to start selling dog products, for example, but in the future pivot to electronics or pivot to other trending product of some sort. So to spend hours and hours perfecting this on a specific product or niche really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Don't spend that much time. Just make sure that it looks decent. That's really the customization of the homepage and the back-end settings of your Shopify store to get you started. As you continue building on your website, you're going to be able to focus on other sections and come back and perfect these. But again, I want to hit home that you don't want to waste countless hours on this.
All right, so now we're going to cover creating your store's logo, right? And having congruency with your logo on your actual website, but also across the social media channels that you're using, whether that's a Facebook page, a TikTok page, an Instagram page, a Pinterest, but whatever it is, they should all be the same. There should be a cohesive logo that is on all of those, right? It should be your profile picture. It should also be on the homepage of your website and on the top bar of your website as well, right? So people can see that.
It's going to build trust. It's going to allow a customer to know that they're in the right place if they click off an ad or if they click off a video on TikTok, for example, or off Instagram on a story, and they land on your webpage on a product detail page. So that way they know that they're on the store that they intended to, right? It's not some shady looking website. There is cohesion, okay? Now, the simplest way to get a high quality logo is to go to Fiverr. And I'm not just telling you to do this. I've done this literally dozens of times. I've ordered off this same person right here. They do a good job. As you can see, this is an example of a store that I didn't actually launch, but I was going to. I'd done this on several other stores and used this same exact kind of black and white logo strategy looking thing here, right? So you have the AA for Alpha Ambition. This was going to be like a supplements brand for men, and pretty cool because you could obviously put this AA as your logo, or if it's something bigger on like a banner, you could obviously put the entire thing. And I've ordered from this person, I don't know, a dozen or so times, but all you need to do is go to Fiverr, type in logo, and then go to budget, because you don't need to spend $50 for a logo. Just put in $5. You can find some solid people that will do a logo for you for $5. And then you look through some of these people. Obviously, this person has 547 reviews. You can see examples of their logo. Bam, you can get a logo done for you pretty well for $5. Can't recommend it enough. Now, if you don't want to spend the $5 and you'd like to go the free route, then just use Canva. Canva is a free website, if you don't know, where you can create a bunch of free designs, whether they're YouTube thumbnails, whether they're banners, whether they're social media posts, whatever. And in this case, it's a logo. So again, just type in logo on Canva once you sign in. You can do clothing logo, gaming logo, store logos. You can even see suggested templates if you click see all here. But let me just show you an example of a logo that you could create. So click on one of the templates, and then you can adjust the template around to make it fit your brand and your store. So if your store was Alpha Ambition, you would literally just type that in, Alpha Ambition, boom, and it would fit it around there. You could also just interchange this picture and change it out with something else, and it would fit right into there. But this isn't the only template on Canva. There are a bunch. So if you go back again, type in logo, you can see examples of all the different types of logos that you can have. And obviously all of these are customizable. And then when you're on them, you just literally share and export, download it right to your computer. So this is a free way that you can get logos that look pretty decent and you don't have to spend any money. All right, so in this video, I'm really quickly going to show you how you can add Google Analytics to your Shopify account. Now, Google Analytics is a great tool to connect your website. It'll give you a lot of data on your customers, and you'll be able to then use that data and improve your performance, if you're running ads in the future or, remarketing to your customers in any capacity. It's really going to be important, right? Now, it doesn't matter if you plan on doing this now or in the future, but you should set this up now so you can start collecting customer data immediately. So first things first is you want to go to Google and type in Google Analytics and then just click on Google Analytics, right? Click Start Measuring, and then you want to sign up for Google Analytics. Pretty self-explanatory. Just go through the prompts. So I'm going to say that I'm a small business and I do shopping. Now here with your business objectives, make sure you choose drive online sales. That's important because that's your ultimate goal, right? Then accept, and they should accept you. Then continue to home and save all of it. And now you're simply going to put your URL into the bar here in the back end of your Google Analytics under data streams. We want to connect this now to Shopify. So here we are back on the Shopify dashboard, and we're going to go into the apps, and we're going to search for Google Analytics. There's Google and YouTube. That's the one you want to install. And then you want to click Add Sales Channel, and then click Connect Google Account and connect your account. And then click Get Started, and then click Connect. And then as soon as you're finished, your Google Analytics account will be connected to your Shopify, and it will just run in the background, collecting all the data and all the customer behavior about your customers that visit your site. Now, again, this might not be important right in the beginning to you. You might not be planning on running ads for the future, but trust me, this is going to be invaluable insight when you do decide to make that leap to scale your store, so do it now. So in this tutorial, I'm going to run you through how to actually set up DSers, which you can see the site here, DSers.com, is essentially just an app that you can download on the Shopify App Store here. This will be what it looks like before you sign up and log in. And what DSers is it's vital, right? It's essentially what Oberlo was back in the day. This is the new type of version for it. It's basically going to allow you to import Shopify products and sync them. It's basically going to let you import AliExpress products into your Shopify store and sync them up, right? So that when you get an order on Shopify, it automatically gets ordered to the customer from the supplier that you obviously set up. And essentially, this is the app that we use to find products and sync AliExpress products and also automatically process orders within our Shopify store. This is necessary. You're going to need this. So when a customer orders off your site, that way you don't have to manually order the product yourself off AliExpress to their address to them, right? It'll happen automatically or semi-automatically until you tell it to actually go through. And I'll have an entire how to process the order within DSers tutorial as well. But more on that in a future lecture. So let's hop in. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you want to go to the app section by scrolling down and opening that tab. And then you're essentially going to search for the app DSers. This is how you're going to process orders on Shopify and how you're going to add them to your store, how you're going to add products, right? So download this app and then you want to install it and you want to connect it to your Shopify store. And now it's going to take me to the DSers homepage here. And you're going to be met with this main dashboard, as you can see. Now, if you go to the import list, I've imported some products already so we can start off and I can show you. And I'm going to cover every section here one by one. So in the homepage here, you have things that, could help you if you want to watch tutorials or you're unsure about how to work within DSers. It's all here for you if you want to learn, right? You also want to download the Chrome extension. By downloading the Chrome extension, it's going to be absolutely crucial. So when you're in the homepage there, you want to make sure to go ahead and download that and then sign in, right? That's how you're going to actually import products from AliExpress within that Chrome extension. When you're on AliExpress, it's going to give you the option to then pull those orders in. Just the same, it's also how you're going to process the orders because, again, it's going to copy that information from your Shopify store automatically within the Chrome extension and then take that into AliExpress so it automatically pastes in the customer's address, their information, and you can process orders a lot faster. But again, that's a different tutorial, right? So when you're in the homepage, again, download the Chrome extension and sign in. And now here you got to set up your currency and your time zone if you're in report. That way, it'll send you all the right data, and you can look through here if you need to in the future to see what's working, what's not, how much money you're making per product, etc. It all shows it to you here. This isn't necessary, but it's something that you should do, right? So now let's go to the Find Supplier section, and this is kind of where you can see different examples of some of the best-selling products right now within here, right? And these are all AliExpress products, but after you find a product that you like for your dropshipping business, whether it's within here or on AliExpress that you've already, found, right? And once you actually go ahead and you find a product and you're on the AliExpress product listing, you're going to copy the URL, really simple. And before we import it into DSers, I'm going to show you how to find other suppliers. So go to Supplier Optimizer and paste that URL in. This thing's a game changer because if you paste the URL of the product into the Supplier Optimizer and then search it, it's going to search for other products that are very similar that are better suppliers, because you'll notice that AliExpress often has a bunch of different suppliers for the same product, and there could be a cheaper supplier out there with better ratings, faster shipping times. So always run your product through the Supplier Optimizer first to see if you have the best supplier. Maybe you're selling from like the 10th best supplier. You don't want to do that, right? So check it. You can sort it through here, as you can see, by sales, delivery speed, rating of the supplier, price. All of this is going to be crucial to find the best supplier for your product. Don't use the second best. Don't use the third. Use the best supplier. So now go into your import list, and now we're going to import the product, right? So if you click import or search up here on the right, you're going to paste that same product URL in here and then search it. And then you'll see it pop up there. And now if you grab it and you click on it, you can push it to Shopify. This is going to automatically take all the product details from DSers, from AliExpress, into your Shopify store. So also click also publish to online store and then push it to Shopify. And there, it's going to automatically push to your Shopify store. There we go. Now, as you can see, it successfully pushed it to Shopify, and my products page also updated here. It used to only have the watch, as you can see, but now it has the soap as well. So now let's go to the page in the online store view of your store, right? Let's go into the catalog, and as you can see, there's the product that successfully was pushed to your Shopify store. Now, if you don't want to have it anymore, you simply just uncheck it, and then you delete it from within DSers. There you go. Select it, delete it, and it will remove it from your Shopify store entirely automatically. So you don't have to do it within Shopify. You can do it within DSers. It's all hosted here. This is how you import and export products from your store, and this is how you'll process orders as well. All right, so now moving on, we have open orders here, and these are going to be the orders that have been placed recently by customers on your Shopify store. They'll all be in here. You can see pending, awaiting order, have you fulfilled it yet, all that good stuff. Are they awaiting payment, right? Never fulfill an order that's still awaiting payment. Wait for it to say awaiting fulfillment, because every once in a while they can be canceled if they're not paid. So do not fulfill an order until it has been paid. And if you need to go into archive orders, that's obviously there too. You can see the past orders that you've already fulfilled. Now, tracking is also an option. You do have to upgrade for this. It's a paid feature. You don't need it, but it can help from time to time, so it's up to you. I don't recommend it for beginners, and I don't recommend it for beginners when you're just starting out, but it's good to know that it's there if you do want to upgrade in the future. And also, if you click tracking here, you'll notice that this within here is a paid feature. So if you want to activate this and upgrade, then you certainly could. Now, you could always, you don't need to actually auto fulfill them, but if you're using DSers, it comes automatically anyway. So like you might as well auto fulfill them with DSers. But you could also manually import your tracking numbers, although as you scale like into the orders on your Shopify store from AliExpress or from DSers, although as you scale, it does become more time consuming and a lot tougher. So I would, you don't need to upgrade here with the tracking in the beginning. I would recommend that you do, but as you start to scale and start to get, even 5 orders a day or more, I would definitely recommend upgrading. So it just automatically syncs and inputs your tracking numbers into the orders so customers can see when their package is coming, see what the tracking number actually is, and they can stay updated, right? Because even if you're filling it manually, if you start to scale and you get multiple orders, you might forget an order here and there, and you don't want unhappy customers. That's going to lead to headaches and issues for your store. So again, I recommend that you upgrade this, but you don't need to in the very beginning if you're just starting. And that's essentially how you import products from AliExpress with DSers. It's super easy. To recap again, if you go to the import list section all the way on the left after you download the Chrome extension, you can just paste in the URL of your product and import it. It will automatically move to your Shopify store. If you go to Supplier Optimizer and paste in that same URL, then you can find other better suppliers that might have better prices, faster shipping speeds, better ratings. You get the picture. So that's DSers in a nutshell, and that's how you add products and sync them with your Shopify store using this app. To enhance sales conversions on your Shopify store, it's crucial to ensure that your product pages are fully optimized. Now, these pages serve as the primary destination for customers to explore and learn more about your products before they make a purchase and convert shoppers into customers. So in this video, we're going to cover several tips aimed at optimizing your Shopify product listings to maximize conversions, make more sales, and ultimately make you more money. Now, the best thing that you can do is keep it simple, in my opinion. Don't try to come off like a master copywriter on your product pages thinking that you can sell your customers into making the purchase. Often it's just overkill and it comes off as too much. Keep it simple, let the product sell itself, and if you're good at picking a product that customers want, as you should be, then they've already come interested already in seeing what the product is actually all about. Therefore, the main goal of your product page should be to simply display the value of that product and the problem or the pain point that it solves. So in layman's terms, just showcase the product as best as possible. Don't try to create some master funnel that persuades them and changes an on-the-fence customer into an actual paying customer. It probably won't work, I promise you. And that leads me to the next point, which is often shorter titles work better in my opinion. Now, obviously, this is nuanced and it depends product to product, but as a rule of of thumb in general, it should be short and concise, or at least as short and concise as possible, while still having the ability to relay exactly what the product is in a split second. Do not take the customer's attention span for granted. They won't spend hours on your page reading about the intricacies of your product and how it works. Honestly, they probably won't even spend multiple minutes, if I'm being honest. So short, sweet, punchy, and to the point, demonstrate the value of your product as fast as possible. Keep it simple. The next tip is to add product reviews to each page. Now, this tip is a simple one, especially with all the apps on the Shopify App Store now. You can literally type in reviews on the App Store and find dozens, if not hundreds, that will copy AliExpress reviews or Amazon reviews over from your product to your Shopify store instantly. Now, we'll cover all this in an upcoming video, so if you don't get it yet, that's totally fine. Just understand that the importance of reviews and social proof is immense. It is a must nowadays. You need to have them on your page if you want a high conversion rate, and you need to build trust with your customers when they hit the landing page with these added reviews and these added testimonials. If you try to launch a product without them, it's going to be an uphill battle right from the start. Now, another key to think about is the product pictures on the listing. This is the most important thing, in my opinion. People like to see high quality images of the product and imagine themselves using it, right? They construct this scenario of how it would fit into their life from them just looking at the product pictures. Everybody does this even if they don't realize it, right? And so high quality images make this easy on the customer. Low quality images make it extremely difficult. Assuming already that you have a good product, of course, because that's number one, then the most important thing to convert the customer would be high quality product pictures on the listing. If you're trying to sell a product, make sure it has good product pictures, not just like white background images here. We're talking about potential action shots, lifestyle photos, someone using the product, showing how it's used and demonstrating its value, maybe infographics as well of what the product is or how it solves the problem or the value against other similar products, and maybe even a video on the listing too. Amazon listings are a great example of this if you need some juxtaposition for this. So if you're struggling to find a good product that has great images on AliExpress, which you shouldn't be if you're looking and trying a bit, but you could always then take a product that's very similar off Amazon. Often there's a product that's exactly the same or just like it, and grab product images from there, because Amazon listings tend to have a lot of good images that aren't just normal white background images. A lot of them will have lifestyle pictures, or they'll have infographics, and some will even have videos. So that's a great place to start if you're struggling. I would also ask ChatGPT to write your description points. Again, keep it simple with this. Don't get too creative and try to go overkill. Just give ChatGPT the most information possible directly from your listing, and then tell it to come up with some short bullet points about your product and how it can help your target customer. Ask it to give you some examples of ways that you can put on your product listing that would help convert customers better and increase their desire to purchase the product when they land on it. You'd be surprised how well it can actually do with the right information and a simple prompt like that, but test a few different prompts and see what it spits out. We no longer live in the age where you need to make these product listings yourself, so ask the pro, ask AI, obviously verify that it's good on your own, but chances are it will be. Finally, a compelling call to action should be added to help nudge customers toward making a purchase. Whether it's a simple order now or a more creative message tailored to your specific product, a clear CTA guides customers through the buying process and reinforces their intent to purchase. Now, I typically like to manufacture like a timed offer of sorts on the page, so whether you have a countdown timer or a random sale that you made up or that you're running, so there's that simulation of urgency for them to purchase, or if you incentivize them in another way, come up with something creative here. For instance, buy now in the next 2 hours and your order ships free. Something like that, whatever you decide, and you can even look at your direct competitors and see what's working for them and then kind of mold yours around that. Whatever the CTA is, adding one will help convert customers a lot better than if you don't add one. So there you go. Hope these tips really help you. Implement them on your product pages, and remember, don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Pick great products and let them sell themselves. If you nail the product market fit, everything else becomes a lot easier. All right, so I'm going to run you through how to create, a custom product page and kind of adjust things around once you actually get your product up. Now, the majority of you are going to be using DSers and grabbing products from AliExpress automatically. There's a tutorial in this course that will show you all of that. and how to actually approach it very simply. It automatically pulls those products in and then gives you the base, right? So you'll have the title, you have the product pictures, you'll have the product information and all that good stuff. But what if you want to add reviews? What if you want to add something else? What if you want to, make the product listing a little bit more optimized? How do you get into the nitty-gritty of actually doing that, right? And what do you even put in there? How do you know what to put, right? The easiest way, without, giving like a blanket statement, one size fits all for everybody, because it varies, is the easiest way is look around at some of your other competitors, spend like 10, 15, 20 minutes, identify other competitors in your niche, maybe 3 to 5 other competitors that are already doing well and already selling. So if you're in the pet niche, right? Search around, find some other pet Shopify stores that are doing well and actually getting sales. You can use a product research tool to find these stores. You can search around for Shopify stores on Google like that, or you can even scroll TikTok or scroll your Instagram or scroll any social media and see what products in those niches are suggested to you, and then click over on those products to those Shopify stores to find it, right? Then, once you find stores, 3 to 5 of them that are getting sales currently within your niche, you essentially just want to take a little bit of notes, take all the information in. How are they structuring their pages, right? How are they building out their landing pages for their products? What's working for them? And then start there, right? Emulate those different product landing pages and start with those, right? If you start to see a trend with all of them, that's something that you want to do, right? So you can also structure your page very similarly, right? You don't have to be a graphic designer that's like a sweet web designer that's amazing, right? First and foremost, Shopify will make a lot of it look streamlined and good already if you just use some of their templates, so that's crucial. And there's a million different templates on Shopify that you can choose from, and a lot of them are free. You don't have to pay for them, right? But if another page has a specific product template that you think looks good and kind of, you want your page to look like, just literally model yours after that, right? Do they have the picture on the left? Do they have the picture on the right? Do they have the picture in the middle, right? What does their landing page look like? Model what's working for other competitors within your niche. That's the simplest tip. We can literally end the tutorial right now, right? But I'm going to take you through the A to Z here about how to actually go about doing this. So let's hop in to how you can add custom product pages and kind of adjust different things within your store to help convert customers better, right? So the first thing that you want to do that I recommend is click over here on the left to add section, and then click on image with text. You can use this section to highlight some of your product features. Go right here and upload your product and your product images under select image, upload them in, click done, and there you go. Now you have a product that looks streamlined, and now you can start building from there. So the next thing I'm going to do is flip the image to the other side, right? That's going to create some nice contrast against the product images above that we just saw. And now I'm going to change the background to a light gray here to kind of break it differently up so that the sections don't look the same. It'll give some visual contrast without really doing anything too aggressive to the aesthetic, but there's still another block within the section, so I'm going to change the color to light gray and not make it too much. Now with the text, I feel like we could move this down a little bit, so I'm going to go to the desktop content position right here and go to middle, make sure that it's centered. And now I'm going to click on the title. And put a title in there so that it looks good. Next, I'm going to click the text block. And there you go. Now we can adjust the text. You can put whatever you want in here. If you already have a product, detail page, or you already have your specs, you can put them in there. If you already have a written out copy, that's great. If you want ChatGPT to put it for you, then you can ask ChatGPT and put it in there. It does a really great job. And now I'm going to create a little bit of space right here on this product as well. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And then I'm going to go here to the padding. As you can see, this little slider. And I'm going to create some space, give it a little bit more padding within the sections here. So it looks a little bit cleaner, but there still is work to do for sure. But in my opinion, this looks a little bit better, so it kind of spaces it out so customers can focus on one thing at a time and it doesn't seem so jumbled and, condensed. All right, so the next step is I'm going to add a section again. And then I'm going to click image with text again. We're going to add something else because it's another picture of the product with some product features. And I'm going to make it on the left side this time. So we're going to upload another picture of the product. There we go. Again, we're switching sides so that it contrasts and it looks like a different section. You want to, again, adjust the content placement here. Click on the image with text, which will be the title. Obviously, as you can see, image with text is written in title there. And we're going to adjust this to whatever product feature we want to put here. And now I'm just going to quickly fill in the text. Again, this is going to depend on your product, your specs, whatever your copy is. We have a whole specific lecture on how to write copy with ChatGPT and different things to put on your landing page. You should already have all this information, but I'm just kind of showing you how to build the page to make it look good. And there's many approaches for this. Again, the easiest way is to model your competitors, right? So now we're going to slowly move through this, and you're kind of seeing in this tutorial what the page looks like if I kind of put them on opposite sides with some product features. This is one of the most basic ways that you can structure your product pages to, break them apart so that they're not super condensed and customers can see what the product is. Now, we still need to change some of the settings, so I'm going to leave the theme editor, and I'm going to go back to the Shopify dashboard now, and I'm going to go to products. And I'm going to find the products that I just created the template for. So we're searching that. And now, under theme, we're going to change the template, and I'm going to choose a new one, right? This is going to make it look great. I'm going to save this to that theme that we just changed. And now I'm going to go back to the theme. And I'm going to go to the editor and make sure that the related product section looks great. Does it look good? I think it does. And that's going to be under on the product page, but all the way at the bottom, so it's suggesting other related products, right? That'll give you a couple recommendations. And essentially what that will do is it will give you a couple different recommendations for the customer to actually click on if that might not be the specific product that they're after, right? But this is the most basic way to build your Shopify store pages. Hope it helps. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you really fast how you can actually import product reviews from AliExpress. Now, reviews are one of the most important things that you can add to both your site in general, but especially your product listings on your actual product pages, because it's going to build trust with customers. And then as a customer hits your page, they're inherently going to have that social proof, see it on the actual page, and be that much more inclined to buy. If they hit a page that didn't have any reviews, it was just a product, you're really going to have to nail home everything to actually eventually get them to buy. Whereas if they hit a page that looks glowing with testimonials, glowing with product reviews, and obviously has that barrier of social proof already established and overcome, then assuming that they clicked on that intending to actually purchase or interested in the product, you're going to have a much higher conversion rate and a much easier time converting them into an actual sale. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to your apps and then search for Ali Reviews, okay? And then you're going to download the app that says Ali Reviews. Let's search for it here. So you don't want the Ali Reviews product reviews. You want the Ali Reviews Ali app reviews. So once you download the Ali Reviews app, this is going to let you pull in reviews from AliExpress on your products. So if you're looking at a product that already has a bunch of reviews on AliExpress, it's going to automatically sync with your Shopify store and then let you pull in those reviews from AliExpress directly onto your product listings. And it's also going to let you choose those specific ones. Now you'll see the free plan here has 30 reviews imported per product, and that's totally fine for the beginning. You don't need to upgrade. 30 reviews is plenty of social proof. And again, you can pick and choose the best ones. Make sure the ones that you're picking have decent English on them and that you're selecting people that are actually writing things that look like they're legitimate reviews. You can just start importing your reviews by simply pasting the URL of your AliExpress product into the app. In my opinion, especially in the beginning, you're going to want to go 5 stars and above, but it's really up to you. Because obviously you're going to want the best reviews that you can, and this is going to sort them all so that you can then automatically be suggested all the 5-star ones, and then you can go through and manually approve the ones that you like. That's how you import product reviews from AliExpress to your Shopify products. Test this app out. You can just use the free version. It does the job perfectly, but it will make a difference in your conversion rate and increase your sales. All right, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to actually process the orders from DSers when you get them on your Shopify store, right? Obviously, the order is going to appear in your Shopify store first, so you can see it here on your orders tab, and it should be paid. Make sure that it's paid. Don't fulfill an order that has not been paid or is pending, because if it's still pending, the customer might not eventually pay and it might get canceled, right? Now, the order will automatically sync within DSers as well. So if you open DSers, you can check the order number to be sure, just to make sure, but the customer information, the product should all be the same. And when you set your shipping settings correctly, as you can see here, it's synced up with AliExpress standard shipping, and then you can click on the order button to place this specific order. You don't need to manually copy anything. It's already going to be, you could also place multiple orders at once by clicking all the tabs, or if you have multiple orders, just checking this box right here, and then you'll see all the orders highlight, and you click place order to AliExpress, and it will do all of them at once. Again, this is a game changer because while you have to actually push the orders through like you see here by clicking, all the customer information is automatically synced up. It's all stored in here so that when you click order, it just automatically goes to the customer, and the tracking number from AliExpress automatically comes back and goes into your Shopify order and gets emailed to the customer, okay? So this is a game changer because it automates the importing of products, and in this case, it automates the order processing, right? Now, you can check that when your orders are processed, how to actually go ahead and make the payment, right? So when you click through, you'll see it's awaiting payment. You'll also see whether there's failed orders or not, and whether there's any orders that need to be reviewed. Now, since we clicked order and now we need to make a payment, you need to click the make payment tab. That's the next step. And that will take you to the AliExpress orders product with that customer's information auto synced already into the order for you, which you can then go ahead and place that order with your payment information and then make the payment that way. Again, all you're doing is essentially pushing it through by clicking order and then clicking make payment. You don't need to manually input anything. So again, let me show you. If we just click make payment, it'll take us to the AliExpress orders tab where you can see this product is in there already. And there's only one here in awaiting payment, but if you have multiple orders, you'll see multiple orders here. So click the order that we're going to pay. It's obviously this one. Check it off. You can obviously pay for a unique order, or you can pay for them all at the same time if you want to go that route. Again, it's auto synced. You don't have to worry. Click pay now. And then you just need to complete the payment. Your payment method should already be auto populated in AliExpress if you set that up. The first time you might need to input it, and then it'll be auto synced. And then as soon as you pay, you'll see that the payment was successful and you're all done. And as soon as AliExpress sends you the tracking information, DSers will also pull that automatically and sync that tracking up with that order and send out the email to the customer, right? So you don't need to import products manually with DSers. You also don't need to process orders manually with DSers. It all auto syncs. You also don't need to input tracking numbers with DSers. It does all that for you, okay? The only thing that you need to do is verify, obviously, the order, and then go ahead, push it through, click order, and then manually pay. Those are the only steps you need to do. It takes everything else out of the equation. So that's how easy it is to process orders with DSers. Test it out. You'll pick it up very quickly. It's not complicated. So a winning product isn't just any item you list. It's your business's superhero, the main attraction that draws in the customers. Think about it like Apple's iPhone or Andrew Tate's The Real World. It's your star product, and finding yours should be the main goal that you're looking for. But what actually makes a product a winner? A winning product is unique to the market. It solves a customer's problem or adds, at the very least, significant value to their life. It should catch their eye instantly, and it also needs to have a high perceived value, but it needs to be cheap and easy to source so you can enjoy healthy profit margins and potentially scale with ads. All of these things matter. Remember these specific points when you're on the hunt for that golden product. Now, mainly your product needs to have a wow factor because it should stand out in the crowded social media world and stop people in their tracks, because your primary way of acquiring customers is going to be using social media, and people have a short attention span, so you need to grab their attention with something that they haven't seen before. You also need to consider the availability to the customer. If it's easily found in in local stores or on Amazon, for example, then it might be tougher than you think to sell it in your online store. It should be unique, or at least the customers haven't seen it yet. You also want to understand your target audience, right? Should it cater to a specific niche or customer group? Understand your potential customers' needs, desires, and pain points. Build your specific brand around a specific group of people, and it'll be a lot easier to scale specifically to them in the beginning, like dog lovers or horseback riders, and then tailor your specific products to them, solving their problems. Now, that's in the beginning, right? You want to niche down and find your demographic, but to actually scale big, it also needs to be able to have at least some mass market appeal and wide audience base. If your market is too small, it might be easier to get some sales in the beginning, but ultimately you will struggle to scale it. So you want to balance the two, but understand that in the beginning, you do want to go somewhat niched. Just it needs to be like a niche that does have broader appeal. So for example, healthcare is super, super broad, but take that one sub niche down in the very beginning and start there. Fitness, super broad. Take that one sub niche down and maybe tailor it to back exercises. Next, consider its ability to be a problem solver for that specific demographic. The best products make life easier in some way. So choose products that either solve a specific problem, like a posture corrector, for example, or add value like a time-saving vegetable slicer, because that makes it super easy to display that value within a video that customers will instantly understand when they see it. Your product also should have high perceived value, and that's going to make it super easy for you to actually have good margins, especially with rising ad costs. That's something that you should be considering. So here are some easy tips to keep in mind. So they're not a strict rule, but just something to keep in mind as you're looking for this. Pick products that look more expensive than they cost. So jewelry is a great example, because again, it could be $10 piece of jewelry, it could be an $800 piece of jewelry, it could be an $8,000 piece of jewelry, right? So there's a wide range of perceived value. Another example is like, now don't drop ship this because they're heavy. Something else to consider is the product's weight, but couches as an example, like you can buy a $400 couch, you can buy a $4,000 couch. Also, like I said, couch bad example, table bad example, anything heavy bad example, but I just want to kind of get your mind thinking. The lighter the actual product, it'll be easier to have your margins higher because your shipping costs will be considerably less. You can obviously stray away from these. They're not hard set rules, but I just kind of want to introduce you to new concepts to start getting you thinking, because if you start with razor thin margins, it's going to be next to impossible for you to scale. And it's going to help you a lot more in the long run if you think about these things ahead of time. Now, when you're actually marking your product up, aim for a 5x or at the very least a 3x so that you can scale with paid ads. Now, if you're running organic in the beginning, then just doubling it can work, because again, you're just using your sweat equity, so you're not spending any money. But ideally, it would at least be a 3x. Again, organic, you can go a little bit less, but keep that in mind, because if you do plan on scaling in the future, you're going to need to bump your prices up to afford that ad budget. This is going to allow you to have enough margin to make money and compete with the other sellers that are actually spending money to run ads. Always check what competitors are charging to ensure your prices are realistic, though. Remember, these rules mainly apply to your winning product. Other items in your store can have different markups if you want, just to increase average order value if they add another thing to their cart. The goal in the beginning is to find one product that works. You need to have the look and feel of an entire store with lots of products, obviously. It helps you look official, increase orders if customers buy more than one thing, and also allows you to continuously test more and more products that are within your store a lot faster. But always remember, you're not testing many things at once. Test one product. The main goal is find one hot product and then build off of that. Now, picking the right product can make or break your e-commerce business. It's not about finding the cheapest item, but about finding something that stands out, addresses a need, and can be sold at a profit. Stick to these guidelines and you'll be well on your way to finding that winning product for your store. In this video, we're going to outline the differences of general stores and one product stores, obviously using Shopify. Now, I'll explain what each is, the benefits and the drawbacks of each approach, and I'll also compare which one's better and why. I did, however, forget to turn my mic on when I recorded this, so I apologize in advance for the not so amazing audio quality. Hopefully it doesn't affect your experience watching it too much. Just know that the info and the insight in this will be worth it.
Within dropshipping, the two most dominant models are the general store and the one product store. So in this video, we're going to dive deep into the understanding of both and explore both the pros and cons, and in my opinion, which is better and why. And I'm actually going to give you a recommendation of like how to start and which one's better for you. So the one product store is obviously exactly how it sounds. It's just you selling one product, okay? You're not selling anything else, it's just the one product. Now the benefits of a one product store are that there's the niche market penetration, right? So with a one product store, you can cater to a specific underserved market niche, assuming that you find that, of course. You can cater your marketing and really target it down. So it becomes streamlined to a specific audience segment that you've obviously got mastered. You have a lot of data on, you know their trends and what they're interested in. And on top of that, as you even like advertise more and more, if that's the route that you're going, or if you're even doing like organic on TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, you're going to get better and better and better at it because you're really, really only focused on the one specific product and how to actually market that. There's also higher conversion rates, right? Since visitors aren't distracted by a myriad of products, conversion rates are typically higher. It's also extremely scalable if done correct, especially when running advertising, because you're going to get a lot more feedback on your ads, and a higher conversion rate on those ads often means scaling is a little bit more straightforward and will lead to lower ad costs because you'll really be able to hone them down. You can also brand really easily. It's easier to brand around a single product specifically than a general store, for example, where it's really just the broad niche. With a one product store, you can kind of build a brand around that. And if you decide to do influencer marketing, there's really that advantage as well, right? Because promotions with influencers become more focused and more effective if you can find the right people who already have an audience built around a specific thing that caters really well to your product. Like we covered when running advertising, or even if you have a website pixel set up on Shopify, your feedback and your analytics are going to become a lot more valuable with one product store. And clearly there's the customer service aspect of it as well. And you can streamline your customer service to be really efficient around that one product because you can build systems to kind of answer frequently asked questions around it. You don't need to cater customer service to dozens or hundreds of products. You can really hone down, again, on one. Now, some of the drawbacks, of course, are that you have higher risk, and these things need to be considered if this is the route you decide to go. Your entire store clearly hinges on that one product, and if your product fails, well, then your store fails and you're going to need to create an entirely new store. Just the same, there's flexibility limitations too, right? There's little room to pivot if your product doesn't perform well, and you're going to have to rebrand completely into an entirely new store, an entirely new product, and start back from scratch and step one. Again, sustainability concerns. If the demand for your single product wanes, if, for example, you create a store around something that's trending and doing really, really well, but that trend dies off, well, your business dies off too. And there's also limited cross-selling, so there's no opportunity to promote complementary products or upsells because you only have that one product. Now, obviously, as you scale and you start to do really, really well, you can introduce other complementary products after that, but that does take time. That shouldn't be your focus in the beginning. All this compared to a general store, however, the benefits of a general store are that clearly you can cater to a wider audience because offering a range of products can attract a more diverse customer base. There's also the cross-selling opportunities that we just touched on that the one product store did not have, right? So you can always promote complementary products, which gives you a strategic advantage and upsell capabilities. On the contrary to the one product store, you also have stability, right? So with various products, the failure of one doesn't spell doom for your entire store. You can just pivot to another product that you're selling, or even add a product to your store as long as it's within that given niche, and just start there, and nobody's going to know. You don't need to rebrand. You don't need to create an entirely new store. And it really gives you a lot of flexibility because you can test different niches or sub-niches within that general niche. And you can definitely test a number of products within that as well. And one of my favorites is the long-term potential of it. So the ability that you have to adapt and pivot to new trends and test new products. If one product fails, for example, well, you can just pick up on another one that you think seems promising. It doesn't come without drawbacks though, right? Clearly with a general store, you're going to have branding difficulties, or at least it'll be tougher in the beginning to create a brand around it because people won't necessarily know what it is that you sell. And crafting a unique brand identity can be challenging with a diverse product range like we covered. There's clearly also influencer challenges if you plan to go the influencer marketing route, right? So promoting a general store with influencers can be less effective because if you have somebody come land on the landing page of a general store and they notice that some of the products aren't catered to how they got there, they might be less likely to end up converting. And also your bang for buck when you're paying for an influencer is going to go a lot further if you have a one product store and you find an influencer that caters specifically to that product. You also might have lower conversion rates, both in organic but also in ads if you decide to run ads, right? So visitors might browse without a specific buying intent, and that's going to lead to lower conversion rates, which is going to hurt you overall. On top of that, you also have increased competition and resource strains too. So with a broader focus, you'll likely face more competitors in the market because you're not niche down, so you're competing with everybody in that broad market, which is clearly a disadvantage. And you're also going to be competing with everybody in that broad market when you're running ads. And because of that, that can definitely strain both your marketing budget and your marketing strategy because you won't really be specialized around one thing. So all that said, my recommendation is to start with a general store within the same niche. So for example, like electronics or home decor or pet supplies, right? Whatever it is, general, broad, but within a specific niche, right? And then from there, you can test a bunch of different products within that same niche. And if one product fails, that's totally fine because you can just start testing the next one. Eventually, you'll find the winner. And that's when you want to potentially take that winner to a brand new one product store and start trying to scale it there. Now, you don't have to do that, but that's typically the formula that works for so many people. It is proven, and I highly recommend that approach. So in the next lecture, we're going to cover several examples of a general store and several examples of a one product store, so you can kind of get an idea of what each looks like and what they're potentially selling.
In this video, I show you 10 different examples of Shopify stores that are absolutely crushing it within their given niches. We'll cover 5 examples of general stores and 5 examples of one product stores, so you can see what a successful version of each one looks like and the products that each sells. I did, however, forget to turn my mic on when I recorded this, so I apologize in advance for the not so amazing audio quality. Hopefully it doesn't affect your experience watching too much. Just know that the info and the insight in this will be worth it.
All right, so really briefly, I want to show you some examples of general stores versus one product stores, and that way you get an idea of what each actually looks like in real time. Now, I just grabbed 5 of the most successful and cool looking ones that I could find. So obviously Aloe is a clothing brand, a lot like Lululemon, and they sell pretty much a lot of different fitness stuff for men and women. So this is an example of a general store. You can kind of come down and see the different clothing that they offer. They have a lot. So that's aloeyoga.com. Helmboots.com, obviously they sell boots, so they have a number of different variations of boots. If you view them all, there's a lot. They pride themselves on boot quality, but as you can see here, they also sell dress shoes and other things as well. So this is another example of a general store, although clearly this is around men's fashion, men's footwear, and like going out boots and going out shoes. So a little bit more niche, but still a general store. Now, Pura Vida bracelets, again, a little bit more niche, but still a general store. As you can see here, they have new arrivals, but if you shop, there's a bunch of different options here, and not just bracelets. They also sell a number of other jewelry items that you can kind of see, and they sell a number of different things. Great example of a general store. Another example of a general store is So Young. So this is a Canadian store, as you can see. It's got a lot of back to school supplies for kids going to school, right? You can see their backpacks, lunch boxes, different cases for pens and pencils and stuff. But they also have stuff for adults as well, right? They didn't just stop there. They went and expanded their catalog into adult backpacks, adult lunch bags, and even wine totes. Another great example of a really successful general store, but again, built in a niche, right? When you're selling general store, I don't want you to have the misconception that general just means like everything, like a little bit of electronics, a little bit of clothing, a little bit of pet supplies, a little bit of, furniture, whatever, right? You still have to be niched. The only difference is you get to sell a number of different things within that niche, not just one product. So last example of a general store here, as you can see, is AU Lit Fine Linens. Clearly they sell linens, duvet covers, pillows, sheets for your bedding. So this is like bedding and home stuff, but they also have bathware, loungewear. They even have home decor like throws and cushions and pillows for your bed. So another great example of a general store. So by now you probably have a good idea of what a general store looks like, and obviously that you're selling a bunch of things within the niche. But here's an example of a one product store after that, right? So this is not just like niche as a whole. This is literally one product or one type of product with several different variations quite frequently, right? So this as an example right here is a camera, and neos.co.uk is a camera monitor. To be completely transparent with you, I pulled this up knowing this was a good example of a store from a past video that I did about a month ago, and for whatever reason they have seemed to shut down, or maybe they're just pivoting and rebranding. This is a perfect example of something that typically would be a good dropshipping product, especially for Shopify, right? So what this is a palm-sized French press for coffee. So palmpress.coffee is the store name here and the URL. This is a perfect example of a dropshipping product that you could find, that you would only find probably by testing a bunch of different things in like kitchen supplies or kitchen accessories or even coffee as a whole, right? And they've been selling this palm-sized French press really, really well since then, and it's their entire store is built around it. You go shop all products, you'll notice that they really only sell the French press. They have the two right here, bundle, or they have the one. They also have the spare filter for, again, the press. And for whatever reason, they introduced a mug. But again, it's pretty much surrounded around the coffee palm French press. This one right here is Madsen Cycles. And you can see that they literally just sell bikes. Now, there are several color variations and pricing differences here. But generally speaking, it's pretty much the same bike that they're selling. They're not selling a bunch of different things within the biking industry. It's pretty much just bikes. This one right here, Pip Snacks, it's mainly just popcorn, but then they introduced cheese balls and twists. But typically speaking, it's only these snacks right here, and they started with popcorn. Finally, the last example of a good one product store is this Ratio Coffee store. Now, clearly they sell coffee machines, and you can see several different variations of this here, but they only have a few variations. So it looks like they started with one of these and then they expanded slowly with a few different variations of it. And those are the differences of general stores where you're selling a bunch of different things within a specific targeted niche to test a bunch of products. And you can stick with the general store, don't get me wrong. Like you could stick just with what you're selling in a general store and test a bunch of products from there. And then if one sells well, you can, again, continue to sell from your general store. You don't have to take it to a one product store. But if you want to get more niche and enjoy the benefits of a one product store, then you can obviously take your best winning product and create an entirely new one product Shopify store and just sell that like these other examples. So those are the differences and what they look like. Hope this helps.
One issue that most dropshippers face is collecting their money on time. You'll notice that when you drop ship on places like TikTok Shop or Shopify or really wherever, you typically don't get paid right away. You need to wait for the payment processor to release the funds that they collected from that buyer's card. This can bootstrap your growth because you often need to front the money for orders well before you get paid back for them, which can cause some stores to spend less on ads or less on video content or even pause their shops altogether until they collect the money back so that they can place more orders again in the future. A good problem to have, no doubt, because that means you're obviously getting orders. But what if there was a way to get paid a lot faster by these payment processors like PayPal? That would mean that you wouldn't have to wait as long to collect your profit, and your business would cash flow much more efficiently. Paltrack is a Shopify app that you can add to your store with the click of a button that will automatically sync tracking numbers for your fulfilled orders to PayPal, which ultimately minimizes the time that it will take PayPal to release your funds. It can even help prevent that dreaded PayPal funds hold from ever happening to you in the first place. In short, it's going to help you get paid faster by automatically informing PayPal that the order has been shipped out and then provide them with that corresponding tracking number for that order as proof, all for you automatically. This is one of the coolest solutions that I've seen for a problem that dropshippers are constantly complaining about. So if you'd like to try Paltrack, you can do so completely free through the first link in the description. If you want to access your funds faster, which who doesn't, it's a no-brainer.
In today's digital age, social media platforms have become an integral part of our lives. With over 3.8 billion active social media users worldwide, these platforms offer a unique opportunity for all individuals and all businesses alike to connect with their target audience and share their message. Among the popular platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are the top choices for short-form content creation. In this introductory lecture, we'll discuss the importance of posting short-form video content on these platforms and all the benefits that it offers. Understanding how to properly edit and post short-form content is absolutely crucial if you're trying to grow a personal brand, get more exposure for a business, or even start a short-form video agency where you're selling this service to other businesses, which is super in demand at the moment and will probably only grow in the near future. Ultimately, posting more videos to these platforms will bring more awareness and customers into your ecosystem. It'll introduce your brand to more unfamiliar viewers that might not have otherwise found you, and it'll help you reach a larger number of people in your target market because the reach of short-form video content is absolutely mad at the moment. You can reach so many more people with just a simple short video in ways that you never could previously. Focusing on short form in conjunction with other content too, of course, is important for so many reasons. So here are 5 important ones that you should consider. The first is attention span. In today's fast-paced world, people have shorter attention spans than ever before. Short form content offers a quick and easy to consume format that caters to this need. It's an effective way to grab your audience's attention and keep them engaged. The second is its viral potential. Short form content is highly shareable, making it easier for your content to essentially go viral. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram use algorithms that promote videos with high engagement, which increases the likelihood of your content being seen by a larger audience. And YouTube has definitely started doing the same thing. Third is brand awareness. Posting these short form videos is a great way to increase your brand's visibility. With millions of active users on these platforms every single day, your content has the potential to reach a wider audience than ever before, which will increase your brand's reach and recognition. Fourth is increased engagement. Short form content is highly interactive, which makes it easier to engage with your audience. You can use features like polls, for example, questions, and even challenges to interact with your audience, which will increase the engagement with your content and your brand. And fifth, it's cost effective. Compared to other forms of content creation, this is the most cost effective and the easiest to produce. With just a smartphone, you can create engaging content that resonates with almost any audience. As we've covered, there's 3 main platforms that you'll get the most bang for your buck when posting these short form videos. And you should never just post to one of these platforms, because the same exact videos that you post to one can be posted to the others as well, which will ultimately bring a ton more viewers and attention for little to no extra effort on your part. So the first of these platforms is TikTok. With over 1 billion active users worldwide, it's a platform with a unique opportunity to reach a younger audience. Its algorithm promotes videos based on engagement, which increases the likelihood of your content going viral. The mind-blowing thing about this platform is that anybody, it doesn't matter if you already have a big following or 0 followers, anyone can go viral here with just one video that gets some traction, and that can change your life and your business. The second place that you should think about posting these videos to is Instagram. Instagram Reels is a feature on Instagram that allows Instagram users to create short form videos and share them. It also has 1 billion active users, and it's only growing, and it's a great platform to increase your brand's visibility to a different audience that might not necessarily be on the other platforms, or at least as frequently. Finally, YouTube Shorts is another massive opportunity. YouTube Shorts is a short form video feature on YouTube with over 2 billion active users and growing. It's a platform that offers a unique opportunity to reach a large audience that's already integrated with a platform. YouTube is the OG of video content, and they're dedicating a lot of attention to this at the moment and rewarding creators that post here frequently with more visibility. And they've even started to monetize shorts and channels that get enough views with these shorts, which is pretty exciting and pretty crazy. Posting short form content on these social media platforms offers numerous benefits. As we've covered, it's an effective way to grab your audience's attention, increase brand awareness, and increase engagement with your audience by utilizing utilizing these platforms, you can create engaging content that resonates with your audience and increases your reach. And with the increasing popularity of short form video content, it's a trend that's here to stay. And you need to take advantage of it now so you can carve out your piece of the pie before it's all gone. So let's jump into the course so we can cover exactly how you can. All right, so what are the main platforms that you want to upload these short form videos to? Well, you can obviously do the same thing on Facebook if you have a Facebook page and you want to upload it there, but primarily you want to upload it to YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels, okay? They all function very, very similarly, and if you have that same vertical video format, you can upload them all to the same place. So on Instagram, you can obviously do the same thing from your phone. If you go to create a post, and then we'll just select one from the computer just to show you. Let's take this one. Make sure you select 19 by 16 there. Click through that so it isn't too loud. So make sure you do select that vertical format when you click post. It's 9 by 16. You want to make sure that you don't click this square format. In the next page, regardless of whether you're doing it on your mobile device or on the computer, you'll want to drag through and select what part of the video you want to be the thumbnail. The thumbnail is huge. It's going to help the aesthetic of your page. Same thing with TikTok. On YouTube, they actually took that away recently. So I'm not sure if they plan on introducing it back in the future at some point, but currently right now, you can't upload a thumbnail on YouTube. Now, you can upload a thumbnail on Instagram, however. So if you wanted to upload a thumbnail, you just click select from computer, and then you could upload a vertical thumbnail that you could overlay on top of this. That way you don't need to select one from the computer. One thing that you do want to keep in mind is when you're recording the video, what is behind you in the video or the B-roll are going to be options for your thumbnail when you choose it. So keep that in mind. You want to frame the video correctly. So for the sake of just kind of not wasting your time, I'm going to click next here, which is where you'd obviously title it. You could put some hashtags in there. You could add a song to this if you wanted to. You could tag people and then you'd share it. And it works very, very similar on TikTok as well. So you'd upload the same video. Same thing if you're doing it from mobile. Select the file. Let's choose this one again. And then when it's done, you'll have the ability to drag over and select a cover image. On mobile, you can actually edit it a little bit if you wanted to. You could also add text from a mobile device. You could at people, you could add hashtags. And when it's done uploading, the title should pop in here. And then you could also schedule it if you wanted to, or you could just post it right from here. Same thing with YouTube, so you're just going to upload the video. On YouTube, you used to have to actually put hashtag short at the bottom. You don't need to do that anymore. You can just upload any file as long as it's under 60 seconds. It'll upload it as a short if it's vertical and under 60 seconds. So that's how you upload to Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Again, you could do the same thing on LinkedIn and Facebook if you wanted to, but these are the three primary ones, and that's how you upload. So what editing programs can you use? There are a lot of options out there, and there's a lot of good options out there for you. Some are paid, but I'm also going to offer you some good free options as well. I personally use Adobe Premiere Pro. I love it. It is obviously integrated with PC, but you can also download and use it on Mac as well. It's the one that I've used for years, and I swear by it. It's amazing. On top of that, the other competitor, if you do have Apple, is Final Cut Pro. I've never used, full disclosure, never used Final Cut Pro. Heard good things about it, heard that it's pretty much the same as Adobe Premiere Pro in a lot of aspects, and you can produce great content with it. Two free options for you. If you have PC or Mac, you can go to shotcut.org. Now, the first year or so when I was editing YouTube videos and course videos, and I didn't have a big budget, this was like 6-7 years ago, I used Shotcut. It is a software that has all the important stuff and all the necessary stuff that you need. As you can see here, if you just look on the screen, you can clip videos, you can cut it, you can add multiple layers of video and audio, you can add text to your images, you can overlay, you can blur, you can do all of these things in this free software. You can download it 100% free at shotcut.org. I cannot recommend this software enough for people that want to start editing but aren't really ready to spend a lot of money on it yet, and they kind of just want to learn the ropes. The great thing about Shotcut and really all of these different editing softwares is, yes, they all have their different nuances and they're slightly different, But in the grand scheme of things, they're all very, very similar. And so if you learn a lot of editing techniques on a program like Shotcut, for example, completely free, a lot of those same editing techniques will translate over and transfer over to whatever paid program that you decide to use in the future. They might have different buttons, like they might have like different locations for those features, but the features will be the same. So once you learn the new program, you'll be able to implement exactly what you've learned in that new program when you start free. So shotcut.org, great free option. I believe iMovie is free if you have a Mac as well, so you can look into that. But those are some great free options. You could also Google best editing softwares out there. I know Camtasia is another one that a lot of people swear by. I personally, again, use Premiere Pro. It's a great Adobe product. And the best free one, in my experience, is, again, shotcut.org. But any editing software is going to be able to do the job for you. So these are some options that you can look into. All right, so you can record your content specifically for the platforms for Instagram Reels or TikTok videos or YouTube Shorts by simply recording yourself in a vertical video format, right? Literally recording a video of yourself on your phone or on your camera. If you simply turn your camera vertically the other way, it will record that vertical video just like you were on a phone. That way you get a little bit of high quality. Easy ways to record your phone. Obviously you can hold it, you can prop it up somewhere, or you can use something like a tripod like this. You could buy this on Amazon. I think it's like 15 or 20 bucks. It has a little thing on the top where you can screw it in. Then you can buy an attachment like this that holds your phone. Screw it on. Then it stands up just like that. And then you put the phone in and you can tighten it in there, right? And so that's a really easy way that you can get high quality videos and you don't have to like walk around holding your phone every single time you want to record. Okay, so that's something to think about right there. Later on in the course, we're going to cover a software that you can use, an AI software that you can use that's going to generate vertical videos for you in the form of short form videos based on scripts that you give it or voiceovers that you give it already done. And obviously you're going to preemptively do those. And then it's going to spit out vertical TikTok like videos for you in that format. It's very, very valuable, right? So the first way that you can do it is obviously create those videos, whether you use an AI software like Pictory, like we'll cover later on, or you record them from your phone or from your camera, just like anything else. Now, another really cool hack that I use when I'm doing this is I have this software on my phone. There's two of them. One is called the Parrot Teleprompter. So it's just a software like this. And then you can, as you're literally taking a video, you can scroll down and it will read you the script. So it looks like you're looking at the person, but really you're just reading the script, right? That's a really good one. There's also one literally called Teleprompter. That's the app name. And there's a bunch of teleprompter apps. And so what this does is, as you can see how it's like recording the camera where you are right there. So if I scroll down, you can see the script, right? But I can also pull the script up a little bit so that it's only on the top half of the camera. And then as I'm recording the video, the script is reading. So it looks like I'm looking at the camera because it's only on the top part of the video. So this is another really cool thing that you can utilize when you're recording your shorts. It's a game changer. A lot of people don't know that you can do that. And that way you can just literally preemptively type out your script or have something like ChatGPT write a script for you and then just read off the script like you were saying it. You won't have any stumbles, any uhs or ums, and it'll come off a lot cleaner. In the next video, I'm going to take you through how to use an editing program like Premiere Pro and turn normal horizontal videos for something like YouTube, for example, or course videos and repurpose them for vertical TikTok-like videos. So let's hop into that tutorial. In this video, we're going to cover the optimal content strategy for TikTok, assuming your main goal is to sell products via video on the platform. Now, this isn't for if you're trying to become an influencer. This is mainly ideal for anybody that's trying to build a brand and get the most reach and get sales. First, it's important to understand that TikTok loves bite-sized videos, so aim for about 8 to 15 seconds. Short and sweet wins the race. Why? It's because TikTok is all about keeping folks watching, and the more your video is watched by your viewers, the more TikTok's going to share it with other viewers. It's really that simple. So think fun-sized entertainment, and of course, every TikTok starts with a hook, which is what is the opener essentially and grabs people's attention. right away. Imagine you're selling a back stretcher, for example. Your hook might be say goodbye to back pain in under 2 minutes, or improve your posture in just 2 minutes per day. Once you've got their attention with that hook, then you can show off your product's highlights and its perks. The comparison I always draw to this is like copywriting with emails. So for instance, the goal of an email subject line is just one thing: get someone to click on it. Once you get that click, then with the first few sentences and the rest of the email, that's when they come into play. But if you never get the click, it doesn't matter how good your email writing is, nobody's gonna read it. The same thing goes with TikTok videos when selling products. If you don't get someone to buy into your video with their attention, it doesn't matter how amazing your product is, they're gone and they're on to the next video. So think of your first 3 seconds as your email subject line of sorts. Make it snappy, make it interesting, get them hooked. Now, ideally, test a bunch of different hooks to find out what works for you. You could also do some research and find out what other people in your niche are succeeding with too. Check out their most popular videos. What hooks are they using? What hooks are working for them? Use them, replicate them. And once you do find a winner, make as many variations of that as you possibly can, but don't waste your time trying to reinvent the wheel in the beginning. Instead, check out what's working for these other people selling similar products or similar pages and adapt it to your style. It's like following a recipe of sorts, but then you're cooking it and you're adding your own special ingredients. You also need to use quick cuts and trending sounds if possible to keep viewers engaged. It's not the be-all end-all hack, of course, but it just gives you the best chance to kind of maintain watch time, keep viewers' attention, and get more views. TikTok users have the attention span of a goldfish. It is the shortest attention span platform where people are just scrolling constantly really fast. They need that constant simulation, so keep your scenes short, about 3 to 5 seconds max, and then hop on the trend train with the latest sounds and trends. An easy way to find the hottest trends or the hottest sounds is just dive into your own For You page, and you can even, if you want to, search out different accounts that curate these sounds and tell you what they are. For instance, if you search TikTok for trending sounds, you'll see hundreds of accounts that literally make it their mission to find top trending sounds for you. Follow those accounts and you can use them. When you do go through a sound though and you're about to use it, just validate that that sound is indeed still trending by simply checking it on TikTok by clicking on the sound and then seeing if there's recent videos that are still going viral with it. And if there is, then definitely use it. It's really that simple. Now, moving on to hashtags. Hashtags are the ultimate secret hack to... I'm just kidding, honestly. Hashtags, in my opinion, they don't really matter that much, or they did at one point, but they don't really matter that much anymore. If I'm being honest, I've gotten good views with them, and I've also gotten good views without them on certain videos. So if you want to be safe, then do use hashtags. Use about 3 to 5 that really capture the essence of your video topic. But honestly, I wouldn't stress it too much. If they're not there, it doesn't matter that much. Here is the best not so secret hack that I can give you though. The best ideas are often borrowed, they're not created. Find a video that's popping, make it your own. Other creators in your niche have already done the research. They've already figured out what similar products and what similar videos are working. Use their research and then start ahead of the game. As they say, good artists create, but great artists steal. Don't be naive, okay? Borrow content. Just make it your own and put your own spin on it and you'll be fine. Last but most important, consistency is key. You can't expect overnight stardom. TikTok's a marathon, not a sprint, especially when you're selling products and like building a brand page that people want to come back to and follow. Keep at it with about 3 to 5 posts per day, and soon enough you'll find out if your product that you're testing is a good one or if it's not. But you need to post consistently over a period of time. You can't post a few times for a few days and then think you've got enough market research and enough data and feedback. It probably takes anywhere from like 3 to 5 posts per day for, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks to test and validate a product or not and find out if it works or not. And obviously you can test multiple products in that time frame or, in the span of time. At once you can post more. You don't need to just do one at a time. If something's working, double down and create more videos on that. And if it doesn't work, then phase it out. That's the ultimate content strategy for TikTok and selling products on it. Hope it helps.
I want to cover the importance of understanding how viewers are consuming short-form content clips. In today's digital age, our attention spans are dwindling, and short-form content has become an incredibly powerful tool for engaging viewers. With the rise of social media platforms that specifically cater to this short-form content, like the ones we're discussing here, it's essential to understand why and how to use it effectively to capture a viewer's attention. Remember, the first few seconds are the most important part
of your video. With so much content out there, competition for viewers' attention is fierce. There are so many things trying to steal their attention, and you need to be able to create content that's interesting, engaging, and compelling right from the start. Your video needs to stand out from the crowd and grab your viewers' attention in those first few seconds. It's also important to remember that viewing behavior of people on these platforms is specific. They're often scrolling through their feeds and looking for something that catches their eye to typically entertain them. Short form content is perfect for this type of browsing behavior because it's quick, it's engaging, and it's easy to consume if you do it correctly. Just like we covered, the first few seconds of a video are super important, and believe it or not, so is the cover image and thumbnail, even on short form content. You need to approach it almost like a thumbnail on YouTube as well. The thumbnail can help get you the click or not, and that can be the difference between a few more views or not, which ultimately could be the difference between a video that never picks up traction and one that blows up. With the way the algorithms are suggesting content now, views are exponential, meaning your video doesn't need to be exponentially better to get hundreds of thousands of extra views, just a little bit better. A video that's 10% better won't just get 10% more views. It could be 100,000 or even 1 million more views. So focus on the beginning hook of the video and the thumbnail cover image. Now, when you post to YouTube and TikTok, they currently don't let you upload a new thumbnail for each short video. So consider the framing and the way that the background looks behind you in your video, because those will be the images within the frame of your video that you'll ultimately be able to choose from to pick your thumbnail image. On Instagram, though, you can upload your own cover image after the fact, so definitely use that to your advantage. It'll make for a more aesthetically pleasing feed and result in more views when people stumble upon your video because it'll be more clickable. Now, that said, it's also important to understand the nature of the competitive arena that you're about to compete in. Why are people's attention spans dwindling in the first place? There are a few factors at play here. First, our lives are busier now more than ever before. We have more responsibilities, more distractions, more information to process than any other time in history. On top of that, the rise of social media platforms has made it incredibly easy for us to switch between different forms of content, making it harder to stay focused on any one thing for an extended period of time. So what does this mean then for content creators? It means that capturing viewers' attention is more crucial than ever before. If you do not grab your viewers' attention in the first few seconds of the video, then they'll move on to something else and you'll have lost their engagement. This is why the first few seconds of a video are, again, so crucial. So what can you then do to create content that captures viewers' attention from the very beginning? You want to start with a strong hook, as we covered before. Your video needs to grab the viewer's attention right from the start. So start with something that's interesting, start with something that's intriguing, or at the very least surprising for your viewers to keep them engaged. Again, literally think the first 5 seconds here. Also, keep it short and sweet. Remember that short form content is all about delivering your overall message quickly and effectively. So keep your video under 60 seconds and make every second count. If you don't need to explain the video or get the point across, cut it out. You also want to use visuals to tell your story. Now, visuals are an incredibly powerful tool for engaging viewers. Use them to tell your story and to keep the viewers interested. B-roll can be the difference between a video that keeps engagement visually or one that people think are boring and click off of. And you can also use closed captions that read the voice aloud like CapCut, like we've covered before. So this helps maintain engagement and increase audience retention a lot easier as well. On top of that, you also want to consider using music and even sound effects. Music and sound effects can be used to enhance the mood and the tone of the video. And not only will a good track, for example, increase the feel of the video to keep people watching longer engagement-wise, but the right tracks used properly can actually trend jack views on these platforms. More on this in a coming video. So let's say that you've created your videos and you want to start linking your products so that you can potentially get some sales or at the very least test to see if you're going to generate any traffic. The first thing that you need to understand is the different nuances of linking on each platform and how to generate that traffic to your store. So on TikTok, you won't be able to put a link in your profile until you have 1,000 followers. So in the beginning, you can do one of two things. You can get a specific domain. That's the first thing. It's got to be easily recognizable for your store. So you can either go to Namecheap or Google Domains. I personally use GoDaddy. That's also a very good one. Or if you want to keep it simple, you could just buy it directly from Shopify when you set your store up. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Then Post that URL in your profile bio, as well as link it in your pinned comments on each and every video at the top. That way people don't need to actually click it. They can just type it in themselves manually and then go there. Now, obviously, this decreases the conversion rate, but your URL, if it's easy to type out and recognizable, it won't drastically decrease it as much as you think it will. So, for instance, if you're selling boxing equipment, maybe your URL would be theboxingspot.com or brutalboxing.co. If you're selling herbal teas, maybe your URL would be teaplease.com or latenightttea.co. You want something that's easily recognizable and easy to type out, but it also needs to be related to your niche and your products. You also want to go with something that's .com or .co. Don't spring for the cheaper type of site because it doesn't look as official and it will decrease buyer trust with your brand. Or the second way, you could just sign up for a TikTok business account and bypass the 1,000 follower requirement altogether. Now, if you do sign up for one and you get accepted, then you can link right from the start without any followers, which is great. The kicker is that you obviously need a legit business, or you need to sign up at the very least with your own information as a sole proprietor. So just keep that in mind. TikTok's going to ask you for all your personal info, and then they'll take a few days to up to a week max to approve or deny you based on whatever you give them. On YouTube, though, you can't link in shorts anymore. They've made that change recently. So the best thing to do is just pin that comment at the top of each video with the same recognizable URL that people can just manually search for. You won't be creating content specifically for YouTube anyway. You'll just be posting here for added potential sales with videos that you already have and are already posted to TikTok and Instagram. YouTube isn't going to be great for you in the beginning, if I'm going to be completely honest, when you specifically can't link. But it will bring some sales, so don't sleep on it, especially if a video does go viral, which can happen from time to time here. Also, in the future, YouTube will be great for you because when you get accepted into the partner program finally, at that point, you can link your products to your YouTube store and then link them directly in videos, which is a game changer. Moving on to Instagram finally, Instagram's great because you can post reels here and link directly in your bio right from the beginning. You can also link in your stories too when you hit 10,000 followers, which is amazing and definitely converts at a higher rate. Use all of these. You should be creating content specifically for TikTok, but then also reposting it to Instagram and YouTube and even potentially Pinterest as well, and linking all your products as best you can right from the start. Hope this helps. Obviously, there's no 100 way to validate a product before you test it. You need to test it and find out how the market responds. Just because product research software says it's good, or just because you see somebody else succeeding with it, does not mean it's a winning product for you or for me. They might have different shipping, better margins where they can afford to maybe spend more on ads, or offer a lower price because they have a better deal set up with the company or a 3PL. Or something might have even changed since they launched it, making it tougher to launch right now that we're not aware of. You always need to test for yourself to actually see. That said, here's how you can validate product ideas the most you possibly can without testing. Step one is an AliExpress deep dive. So first head to AliExpress and search main keywords to find similar listings. Chances are you'll find that exact product, if not something super similar. Check the number of orders and the reviews that these products have if you can find them. If it has listings with lots of reviews, then that's a solid sign that there's at least demand, and that's a good thing. Read through the reviews, read through the customer insights on them, and if you find glowing comments and pictures, then you're on the right track. Now make sure that it has good reviews. You don't want to start a product that already has tons of unhappy customers. Trust me, you don't want that headache. Only go after products that people already like. Step two is market research on the actual platforms that you plan on selling this on, right? So explore ad spy tools for Facebook and TikTok, or wherever you specifically plan on selling it for. You can use a paid software. We'll cover more on this later. Or you can use free ad libraries that are available to everyone. You can use the Meta Transparency Center, which is basically the ad library for Meta and Facebook, to see ads that people are currently running and to what specific products and what specific landing pages. It's all public now. And you can also see their product images, their copy, their landing pages, which can help tremendously when you're trying to scale your own product. You can can model what's working for other people, but it also helps you provide insights to see if there's companies actually out there running ads to this product right now, and if they've been doing it for a while, because chances are somebody's been running an ad for a while, it's working for them, right? They wouldn't be continuously spending money if it wasn't bringing back a positive ROI. And so that's one of the biggest indicators that you can see that it's working and that you might want to go after a product like that. You can also use the TikTok ad library as well. It's the same exact thing for TikTok. Both work great. Now, are other stores selling this product successfully? If they are, then obviously you're onto something, but you want to check out their ads, check out their engagement, dive a little bit deeper into their websites, like I said, and validate their actual funnel and offer. What's their pricing? These are all things that you should be looking at to understand before actually testing and launching your own product. Now, step 3 is Amazon analysis. And believe it or not, some people are wary in the beginning of finding their specific product on Amazon because they think that other people are going to be able to deliver it to customers a lot faster and they're not going to be able to compete. But it's actually a good sign and a benefit, in my opinion. It indicates a massive demand. Look for your product on Amazon or other products similar. Read what customers are saying and absorb it. This gives you ad angles, website ideas, ways to improve upon the current design in the future, and much more insight. Now, step 4 is Google Trends, and this is definitely something that you're going to want to look at because it's going to indicate demand not just in the past, but also currently, and whether it's been consistently staying roughly the same or even increasing, which is obviously a good sign as well. A rising trend score for your product means that it's gaining interest. Make sure that it didn't die off completely a few months ago or 6 months ago, and it was only a good product in the past. If that's the case, don't sell it. Now, if your product checks all 4 of these boxes, right? Demand on AliExpress, success in existing ads on either TikTok or Facebook, presence on Amazon, and a rising trend on Google, then you've likely found a winner. And at that point, you want to test it because you could be on your way to finding your first successful product. All right, so let's talk product research. There are 2 roadmaps to follow: the free way and the paid way. You can do manual product research on social media platforms like TikTok, for example, and it's 100% free. There's several ways to actually do this. So first and foremost, you can train an account to start suggesting you hot selling products. And the way that you do this is to start a brand new account and only like, comment, follow, and engage on any accounts and videos that you see are selling products via paid ads on TikTok. Also, make sure that you're actually clicking through to the store page, and then slowly, as you engage with more and more of these specific ads, you'll naturally get suggested them more and more because TikTok will think that you're interested in things like that and serve you more content like it. And then you'll literally have an account where as you scroll, you'll only get suggested the hottest products that people are selling, which will give you tons of product ideas and keep you fresh on what's working currently. You can also search out hashtags like Amazon finds or TikTok made me buy it and others like that. And they have tons of products where people are giving feedback on these things that they've purchased and why, often directly from TikTok from a specific ad, just like we're looking for. Finally, the third thing is you can find creators that curate these types of product videos. There's lots of people out there that have built their entire following off products just like this and linking to them to make affiliate revenue. So you can go to these accounts and see what products they're reviewing to get ideas. Just search around TikTok and Instagram. You can find a lot of them. And they just curate a lot of the hottest products out there currently, or a lot of trending products that they think people are going to be interested in. These are just a few tips to do product research completely free. More on this later. Now, as for paid product research, there's tons of spy tools out there that you can subscribe to. And essentially what they are is like X-ray glasses that show you the hottest products, the smartest current ads, and the slickest websites that are converting the best. Now, with these tools, you're not guessing anymore. You're getting the direct scoop on what's already raking in customers and working for other people. Now, while shelling out some cash for these tools isn't a must, it is like having a shortcut to success. So it's not necessarily about having an edge. It's about having the unfair advantage that will allow you to continuously test hot selling products and really increase the likelihood that you find one faster. It really helps cut your product research time tremendously. We'll cover a few of my favorites, but keep in mind that there are a lot out there that work. Now, whether you decide to go the free or the paid route, the goal is ultimately the same, right? It's just find a winning product that will have customers wanting to buy. It's the same overall result, just a different road to get there. So you need to pick whether you're willing to spend your time if you don't have a lot of money, or if you're willing to spend your money to shortcut the time and get you there faster. In this video, we're going to cover several of the easiest ways to find winning products for your Shopify dropshipping store. We'll cover a free manual way if you want to go that route, and also a paid spy tool in case you'd rather spend a little bit of money instead of your time. Now, method number one is watch and learn from the best, aka mimic what's already working from your competitors within your niche that are also selling similar products that you want to sell. So step one in that process is just do some detective work on the actual platform that you plan on selling on. So if you plan on primarily using TikTok, then start there. If you plan on primarily using Instagram, then start there. And just like Sherlock Holmes, you're essentially a detective on a mission, but instead of solving mysteries, you're going to watch videos from the top pages within your niche after you do a little bit of research and curate which pages are actually competing with you, because they already know the drill. They've already spent the time to test and learn what works and what doesn't. And so using their insight drastically cuts your learning curve and shortcuts the process for you. When you're doing this, you want to look for patterns. Do their videos have a special secret sauce that makes them sizzle? Are they constantly using the same video format, the same opening hook? Are they constantly using the same angle when they're actually recording the video? Are they constantly recording videos on the same exact product over and over again? If so, chances are it's working, because just like I touched on previously with advertising, if they're constantly doing it again and again, it's working. Otherwise, they wouldn't continuously be doing so. So check out what products they've been posting consistently within a recent time frame. Also, what products have they posted for a long time over and over again? These are both good insights. If their page posts about a certain blender or a certain squishy toy, for example, over and over again, well, then that's your clue that is probably selling pretty well for them. So you want to probably test that exact product or something similar to your audience. And this is what I call copycat mode, right? The goal here isn't necessarily to just blatantly copy everything that they're doing, because then you'll only ever be a worse version of that page selling that specific product. But instead, use their best tactics to get a head start on yours. As they say, good artists create, but great artists steal. Now, if you see a video trick that they're using, jot it down and use it for yourself. If they're constantly responding to comments on videos, right, in like a new video format, to promote that same exact product over and over again, well, then you should do that as well. If they're constantly duetting other pages or constantly responding to other pages within their niche so that they can seem like they're an authority within their niche, then that's a good indicator that, again, you should try that approach too. You get the picture. Replicate what's working for them in every capacity and put your own spin on it. It's really, really easy. That's really the only shortcut. Or you could use a paid spy tool. Talk Backup is one that's a game changer for me. I've covered it so many other times, and I'm sure I'll cover it again. It's an absolute game changer for pages that are just starting out, trying to get a little bit of a momentum push, just by pasting the username of a page on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube that's doing obviously Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, or TikTok videos. You can then either download their videos or you can sort through their best performing videos and get the insights from their solely best performing videos. Because if they have videos that aren't doing that well, you don't want to take the insights from them. But if they have recent videos that are performing well, obviously you want to go after them. Mimic what's working for them in those videos, use their hooks, use their best strategies, and adopt them as your own, just like you would do in manual. Only now you don't have to spend all the time finding them, because the software tool will really cut that time frame down for you very quickly. Think of it as like a treasure map for the best videos out there in your niche. You can see all the cool stuff that your competitors are doing, all the products that they're pushing, because obviously those videos will be pushing those specific products. And you could do all this without really breaking a sweat or spending any time on it researching at all. And then once you realize that they do have a viral video, or maybe they have a few, it's an absolute goldmine, because you might not have otherwise seen that if it wasn't pinned to the top of their profile and you had to scroll down a bunch of videos just to try to find it. Use those viral videos, use their hooks, take notes on them, replicate again what they're doing. I can't hit that home enough, because If your shop's like theirs and you're selling similar products to them, why not give the winning strategy that's working for them a shot? Because chances are there's a higher likelihood, it's not proven, but there's a higher likelihood that it will also work for you as well. So these are some nuggets of wisdom that will shortcut your learning curve and really get you off and running fast. Again, model your best competitors. Ultimately, competitor research is really just about being a good observer. You don't need to start from scratch when you're doing any business, especially this, especially when you can stand on the shoulders of giants, or at least like the other kids in the playground. This gives you a massive head start, and you can save months of time and a lot of effort and tons of trial and error. If you're dreaming about going viral on TikTok, then you need to understand the algorithm, because that's the gatekeeper to TikTok fame. Now, there's no secret hack that I can give you that will make all your videos go viral, of course, but there are some key fundamentals that if you understand will help you get more views consistently. And they'll essentially give your videos the best chance to go viral. Now, TikTok's mission is to keep eyeballs glued to the screen. Why? Because the more we watch, the more ads they can then show us and the more money they make. It's just like that with any social media platform, and especially TikTok. So if your videos make people stick around, TikTok will then give them a boost in views and push your content out to more and more people. It's really that simple. So here's the deal. If your video's like a flash shortly and then it's over, then TikTok probably won't be that impressed with it and probably won't push it out, because you're not accumulating enough watch time for people staying on the actual video. Contrary to that, though, if you make a longer video just for the sake of being long for that potential watch time and nobody watches it through, then it doesn't do you much good either. Now, long watch times are obviously like a potential goldmine for your content, assuming, of course, that you can keep viewers engaged for a majority of that time. It's more of an art than a science, but a general rule of thumb is that if you don't need it, cut it out of your video, because most people tend to put more in there than they need. Typically, the best length for videos when starting, especially for product videos like we're making when we're trying to sell a specific product physically on TikTok, is about 8 to 15 seconds. Keep it sweet, keep it short, keep it to the point, demonstrate the value of the product or what it solves. It allows you to then, at that kind of time frame, to accumulate some decent watch time per viewer, but also is short enough where it kind of matches the viewer expectation, and it's not hard for you as a beginner to maintain their attention span for that period of time. It's the perfect sweet spot, so try that length first. The next thing that you should focus on to get more views is the replayability of your videos. If your video is the kind that people want to watch over and over again, then you're essentially going to hit the jackpot. Now, adding a twist at the end can make viewers hit that replay button, or even making your beginning like very similar scene-wise or what you're saying to the end, or vice versa, can also make viewers continue to watch it over and over again without really realizing that they're replaying it. TikTok also loves it when people do more than just watch as well, right? They want people to actually interact with the content. And here's the scoop on what matters most. So shares matter the most. They're essentially like the triple chocolate cake of the dessert. Then comments matter the next most. They're kind of like that double scoop of ice cream on top of the cake. And then likes are that small little cherry on top. Think of it almost as a point system in that order. Watch time is the meta metric that you want to pay attention to, of course, but then you get a bonus like 3 points per share, 2 points per comment, and a bonus point for like. And that makes sense because each takes a differing level of investment from your actual viewer in that specific order. It's easy to hit the like button. It takes a little bit more thought and time to actually comment, and a video really needs to hit and resonate with somebody for them to want to share it with a friend and then give it their stamp of approval. So when you're creating your TikTok videos, remember these 3 magical ingredients and you'll be well on your way. Watch time, replayability, and engagement. If your video makes people watch and then rewatch, and your video makes people interact, then you're on the right track and your videos will most likely do well. Remember though, align your content with TikTok's goals, create stuff that keeps viewers entertained on the app, and you'll see the views roll in. Hope it helps.
All right, in this video, we're going to cover 4 insights that will help you grow faster on these platforms. So the first is that search on TikTok is massively underrated and something that you should be paying attention to. Now, more and more people are using TikTok as the search engine of their choice to find specific things and get questions answered in video format. They're trying to make it easier for people to do that and people to find the information that they're looking for. And for that reason, search-based content is getting a huge boost in the algorithm, which is a huge opportunity for you. On top of that, it can dramatically increase your content's lifespan because it will rank higher within search. And then potentially stay there for a very long time, bringing you consistent and valuable viewers over and over again. Try to think about what your ideal customer or follower is typing in when they're searching for things. What problems do they have, right? And then make content that solves those problems or answers those questions. Not only do you want to consider the title when you're doing this, but you also want to fill in your captions in depth as well. On both TikTok and Instagram, you can now put 2,000 characters in your description, and obviously on YouTube, I believe it's like 10,000, a lot more. So the moral of the story is to use characters and input keywords well within your captions. With TikTok specifically, being early within search, the functionality of ranking your content's pretty basic, right? So by simply including targeted keywords within the caption section, your content will dramatically have a bigger chance to rank well for it. Number 2 is that consistency is also super important. I strongly recommend that you have a scheduling tool so that you can plan out your content and make it super easy to remain consistent. There's some free options out there that you can use. You can Google a bunch. I've used Hootsuite in the past, and there's plenty of other examples. Another tool that we'll cover in this course is Flick, which I do recommend to search hashtags from time to time. That also has a built-in scheduler as well if you decide to upgrade, but it comes with a free trial. We'll cover it in another lecture. And that works with both Instagram and TikTok, as well as Facebook and other platforms to help you schedule your future posts. Third is if you look at almost any of the popular pages, right, on both TikTok or Instagram or wherever, that have blown up and have consistent views and a large audience, they're at least implementing some form of this. And that's what's known as a content series. So basically all that means is it's a form of content that's done repeatedly in a specific way that you modify slightly and then you continue to make videos on that, right? Simply because you know it works and your audience responds well to it, right? You'll obviously have to test a bunch of different things, but it's super important to find what your audience responds to, and then you can turn that into something you can repeatedly produce over and over again, just in a slightly different way. So for example, John Ushai, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but John Ushai tested a bunch of different things. He's actually the person I learned this from originally, when he ultimately landed on the short form clips where he asks strangers on the street which person they recognize more, right? It's usually somebody that's a famous actor on one side and then a social media influencer on the other. And you guessed it, typically people actually now recognize the social media influencer over the actor in most cases. Another one I've seen on this is entire pages that are built out with the tip videos that go, here's something I didn't know until I was 30, and then they proceed to tell you something that's mind-blowing, that's a life hack that you might not have known. Another really cool example that I found are when I'm searching TikTok and other places for good e-commerce products, they're the pages that are solely built on TikTok made me buy it, or cool Amazon finds. And there are a bunch of those. They repeat the same formula over and over again because it works. All of these are examples of content series that are super effective. You need to find your content series, though, if you want to be able to generate consistent views, traffic, and virality. It is a game changer, but it will take some testing and some creative innovation on your part. Now, fourth is another thing that you should think about doing, right? And that's duets and reactions. I fought this for so long, but honestly, this is one of the easiest growth tips that I found. Instead of spending hours and hours creating your own content, and you should definitely still be creating your own content, don't get me wrong, right? And mixing that in, obviously, that goes without saying, but you can simply react to other people's more popular videos within your niche too. That will allow you to piggyback off popular videos that have already blown up. You can then give your 2 cents on it, whether you agree, disagree, why, or add some value. And then that will allow you to attract new viewers that might not have otherwise got introduced to you organically from other videos that you know are on the topic you always talk about. A little caveat, if you're going to do this though, don't do this until you have at least some good content up on your page. That way when people come to your page, they'll see that you have other videos on that topic and then they'll potentially follow you, and now they're coming into your ecosystem as well. I would not suggest disagreeing or starting something for the sake of drama. I personally don't like that. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But if you do strongly disagree with somebody, like I'm recommending, don't be afraid to react to that video and explain why logically. Controversy is one of the easiest ways to get views fast, and it will win people that radically agree with your logic over to your side and again back into your ecosystem. So that's another thing to think about. And those are 4 things that are currently happening that I'm seeing that can help you grow. So this is hands down the best way to figure out specific keywords, specific hashtags, and specific topics that TikTok actually ranks for, okay? There's a lot of ways to do it. This is the best way I've found currently, and this is going to blow your mind. It at least blew my mind when I heard about it. I didn't even know this existed. So if you go to your search bar and you search your search term, right?
So I'm in e-commerce. I do a lot of, as you can see here, I searched wholesale Amazon, wholesale Supplier, Amazon private label. So let's search something different so I can do this in real time with you. So another thing that I do is Etsy drop shipping. So we'll do sell on Etsy, or we'll just go broad and we'll go Etsy, okay? This one's tough to see because it's behind that white line right there, but it says Etsy must-have. So this one right here, again, tough to see. This one, perfect example. See the search bar where it says Etsy up top of the video? TikTok has categorized this video as Etsy, okay? So that's a search term. That's a broad search term that we know that TikTok is categorizing videos for. You'll notice that if you do this as an experiment on your own TikTok page, or even on the For You page with a bunch of different videos, a lot of the ones that hit and reach significant status have been categorized. But you'll notice that, at least for some of my pages, the videos that don't really get any traction often, not always, and if they're not necessarily categorized yet and it says find related content like this, then they could be in the process of getting categorized. But what you will notice is a lot of videos that never pick up any traction never get categorized. Let me show you. So let's keep scrolling. There's Etsy. There's old money style men. That doesn't really go with what we're doing. Etsy digital products would be a good one. So that's another little bit longer tail keyword. So you want to use that as a potential hashtag when you're uploading your video, assuming that it fits with you. And this is how you can do keyword research to put in your descriptions of your captions as well as your hashtags. Let's keep scrolling. Again, broad with Etsy. DIY balloon garland doesn't really fit. Printify does fit for me because that's a software company that does Etsy drop shipping. So if I were uploading, like I said, a video on Etsy drop shipping, I'd use Printify. I would use, what was the other one? It was Etsy digital products. Social cheat sheet doesn't fit. Small businesses is pretty broad, but it kind of fits. This one doesn't fit. Etsy shop beginner, that's one that fits. Etsy finds is a good one. Etsy finds. Etsy digital products again. And so a lot of these are actually categorized. Here's a perfect example of one that's on the For You page right here as we're scrolling through search, but it says find related content. And so what you'll notice is a majority, probably 80%, maybe 90% plus of the videos on the For You page will all be categorized, and every once in a while you'll see find related content up there. That means that TikTok is not 100% sure what this video is about, or it could be in the process of categorizing it. But again, if you look at your page, often you'll find most of your videos that don't get any traction have not been categorized because you haven't given TikTok, whether it's in the words you're speaking or in your captions or in your hashtags, consistently enough what your video and your topic and your page is about. Another cool little hack that I didn't realize that I found out recently is you can put a specific keyword that you want to target for within your profile and all your videos in your name, right? So my name is Brian Guerra. So if I wanted my TikTok name to be Brian Guerra, so what I would do then is I'd go Brian Guerra and then maybe a dash or a vertical line, whatever you call those, and then e-commerce, because that's the potential broad search term that I want to rank for within my profile, within all my content. It could also be drop shipping. It could also be something more specific like Amazon drop shipping or Amazon FBA wholesale. And so it would say Brian Guerra drop shipping. It wouldn't just say Brian Guerra, and that's another easy tip that you can utilize. Let's do one more to show you here. So let's do something completely unrelated. Let's do sewing. First thing I thought of. This one's sewing. Find related content. See, this one hasn't been categorized yet. It's also sponsored, so that's a perfect example of why. This one right here, upcycling clothes. Not sure what that is, but that could possibly be related. Sewing projects right here. Quilting TikTok. Sewing TikTok. Sewing's broad. Sewing projects. How to make a corset. How to sew. Fashion design. Fashion designer. Sewing pants. Sewing. Simplicity patterns, probably not one. Upcycling clothing, that's the second time we saw that. Sewing dresses. So this is how you do Etsy keyword research and figure out what you want to potentially go after and rank for within your captions as well as the hashtags. Utilize these search terms because this is TikTok literally telling you this is what we're ranking your videos for. So another way you could do it is you could search for it on TikTok, like I said, and then kind of go through the For You page about like what specific search terms you could potentially rank for. Or you can just figure out who your top competitors are, or a lot of the competitors within your niche, figure out what their top videos are ranking for, and then target those. This is a game changer. Try it out. I guarantee you it helps you. So a really easy way that you can get more views is to really take advantage of trending music tracks and trending videos and memes. So for example, as you're scrolling, just pay attention. It doesn't matter what platform you're scrolling on. Pay attention to the current trends and the current tracks that are blowing up. For example, on Instagram, I'm not getting any of them as I'm scrolling right now. But every once in a while, you'll get a pop-up on Instagram that will literally tell you, this is a trending track, or use this. So in that case, you want to ask yourself, you don't want to force it, right? But you want to ask yourself, can you utilize that in whatever capacity that it fits your business or your brand or whatever it is? Like, you don't want to, on TikTok, for example, right? Same thing with TikTok as Instagram. Just do like a trending dance for the sake of the fact that it's trending. If it doesn't fit your brand and your business, do not do it. That said, you want to keep an eye, like I said, out for those trending sounds on Instagram where they literally tell you. And then, for example, if this was a trending track right here and it told you, then you would want to use that. So you would create something very similar based on your brand and then utilize that track when you're actually going through and posting it. And that's how you can kind of trend jack and track jack views. So few examples of this are this stupid little boat trend right here, where you can just put yourself in a boat with some text, and these get a lot more views than if you would potentially just create your own piece of content. So you need to be able to hop on these waves and take advantage of them when you see them and when they happen. But again, don't force it if it doesn't fit your brand. This is just a random example. Another one right here is the dog one, where everybody just puts their dog in there and then the dog's calling someone. It's an easy way to hop on a trend and get more views. Same thing with this one. I see this one all over the place right now, and you can pretty much fill this with any brand or any business or any theme. So you want to stay on top of trends and you want to be able to apply them to what you're doing in your business with your product or service or your brand. Believe it or not, picking the right sound can be more important than hashtags when it comes to catching that viral wave. They're definitely not some secret hack, of course, but using a trending sound can certainly give your video a better chance to get more views and go viral, because it'll get suggested alongside of other videos that are using that same sound getting lots of views already, which will then inevitably increase your overall watch time metrics and, that snowball effect that just might turn your video into a winner. So how do you hunt down these popular beats then? Well, I've got two foolproof methods for you. The first method is super simple. So scroll through your For You page and keep your ears open for the beats that keep popping up over and over again. And the catch is you'll actually need a page that needs to be pretty diverse for this. If you've already trained the TikTok account that you're using to get suggested product videos for your product research already, then you'll need to restart with a new one and curate this specific new one for trending sound suggestions. And the way you do that is the same. Just like, comment, and engage on the videos that are covering these specific things and using these specific sounds as you're suggested them, and keep an eye and an ear out for more as they come. Slowly, as you train it, you'll get suggested more and more a lot faster. But the second strategy is even easier. Some TikTok accounts have made it their job to teach you how to snag views, and they're trend detectives essentially, and they're worth a follow. So here's what you would do. You just pop over to TikTok search bar and type in trending sounds. You'll see a list of videos pop up from accounts like Trend Bible, for example, that dish out the latest sounds along with examples of how they're actually used and how you can use them too. Click on a video and pay attention to the sound that they're promoting. Hit that specific sound link in the bottom left to see how many videos are using it, because numbers like 350,000 or 250,000 are a good indicator that a lot of people are using them and they're working. However, little caveat here, make sure that the sound is still fresh and it's not outdated. Check the dates on a few of the videos that are still using it. If they're from the past week or so, then you're on the right track and it's probably good. Granted, this strategy is so much easier, but obviously everybody else that follows these accounts also get updated with these same sounds as well, so you need to really be on it fast and use them. But ultimately, I suggest mixing and matching both strategies so you're getting the easiest suggestions, but also the ability to find some others that your competitors might not see and be using. So in this lecture, I really briefly want to cover how you can find the best hashtags when you're posting, right? The same thing's going to apply to TikTok. It's very, very similar. When you're posting on YouTube, of course, it doesn't really matter, so I wouldn't focus too much on hashtags on YouTube. This is primarily for Instagram and TikTok when you're posting videos. Now, what a lot of people do is they'll go to post their video, and then they'll think of hashtags in their mind, okay? And that's a really big missed opportunity, because if you do just a little bit of hashtag research, not only will it help you exponentially, but you can also use all those hashtags over and over again on future posts, right? So it's not like you have to do this every single time. It's going to depend obviously on the posts that you're posting, whether they're the same exact thing, right? Within the same niche, within the same topic area, which I would assume that they will be. But you just need to do a little bit of hashtag research, and it will make a big difference if you do it consistently, okay? So the first way that you can do hashtag research is to simply just search on Instagram or search on TikTok for hashtags, okay? Now, a lot of people don't know that you can do this, so if you just literally type in hashtag, and then for me, I'm in e-commerce a lot of times when I'm posting a lot of different things, so I would maybe type like hashtag e-commerce or hashtag dropshipping or hashtag Amazon seller, right? And what that's going to do is it's going to show you an order of popularity of those hashtags. Now, when you're posting hashtags on TikTok or Instagram or any of these places, you don't want to post, what people used to say is like post as many as possible, right? You don't want to do that because that's just going to ultimately confuse the social media platform when you're posting too many, right? But you also do want to use them, right? So you don't want to not post them or post one or two. You want to use a specific amount that's going to give you the most bang for your buck, but not also confuse the social media platform. So I typically recommend anywhere from 3 to 5 or maybe up to 7 relevant targeted hashtags, okay? Now, should you go more long tail, which ultimately means less popular, and typically the less popular ones are less competitive, so you have an opportunity to rank in there. Or should you go for the more broad ones because they have a broader audience, but again, those are going to be more competitive. It's a delicate balance. Everybody kind of switches their recommendations back and forth. I would say play around with it. There is no right answer. It's more of an art than a science. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear. Everybody wants to act like they have the exact formula. They don't. Just play around with it. Use 2, let's say you're using 5 hashtags, right? I would go 2 pretty broad in your niche and then 3 specific targeted longer tail keywords that you feel like you can rank for, right? So for example, I might pick e-commerce if I'm doing it this way. Since that's super broad, I might say like e-commerce website if my tutorial or my video is talking about building an e-commerce website. Again, that's pretty broad. Then I might come down and pick one that's a little bit more longer tail, but a little bit less competitive. So maybe like e-commerce services or e-commerce entrepreneur or e-commerce websites, right? And it will literally tell you as you're searching through, you can find different hashtags that way. That way you're not just thinking of, oh, I wonder what hashtags I can use. No, just do a little bit of research. They will literally tell you which ones are on the platform that you can utilize and how popular they are. So use the search bar. That's the first way that you can do it. The next way is you can go to popular posts within your niche, right? So for example, if I were going to like e-commerce, well, I would search for e-commerce, and then I might find different popular people or different popular posts within this topic. So let's click on one right here that has a lot of popularity. So Leah K, this one right here, this one right here. We'll click on this one, even though that's the same person. This one. And let's do one more just for the sake of showing you. Let's try this one. And then we want to see what hashtags are they using and are they relevant for us and should we use them? Because chances are if somebody's constantly popping up and they're constantly posting and they're constantly doing well, they've probably done their hashtag research. And so you can see which hashtags they're using and then utilize them for yourself. So for example, digital marketing, Instagram tips. Well, none of this is really e-commerce, so that isn't relevant. Let's try these. Scroll down a little bit. So entrepreneurship, e-commerce, Etsy sellers of Instagram. That one is actually a good one because I literally just posted one for Etsy sellers of Instagram. So I know that this is a little bit of a longer tail targeted one. So you can tell that she's done her research as well. Millionaire, girl boss, success. So you see all the examples of ones that she's using. Now for this person, he just used hashtag e-commerce made easy. So let's click that hashtag and see how popular it is. Only 356 posts. So not very popular, obviously not competitive, but you probably won't do very well, and it's not worth actually doing that. Founder is actually a big Instagram page, so their hashtags are kind of irrelevant. I would skip them as well. And this one, let's see what they're using. So model, summer fashion, this one is not relevant for me. So that's one way that you can find it though. You can search for your topics, right? So we search for e-commerce. Let's go to Etsy seller now just to show you a different example. So Etsy seller, it should pop up with some Etsy sellers.
Oh, not Etsy sellers. Let's just go Etsy. We'll do hashtag Etsy just to see. And then everybody that's used hashtag Etsy, we'll find somebody that's doing fairly decently. This one got a decent amount of likes. These are all recent. This hashtag looks like it's not too popular. But you can see the other ones that she's using right here. Handmade is another good idea. So that's one way that you can do manual research. We're just going through the manual research ones now. Another way after that, right? So you can search for hashtags. You can also search for specific keywords and then find people and use the hashtags and reverse engineer which hashtags they're using and work best for them. Or what you can do is you can do some research in your field and in your niche to find who else is doing really well in that as well, right? So for example, this person, I actually reacted to a video from them before. They have a decent following. So if Ricky Gutierrez might, it's eCom Phil, resale. So like I might type in like e-commerce and see who pops up. We got eCom Musa, eCom Rach, the e-commerce dropout, Tony e-commerce. So let's see who some of these people are. So she, 220,000 followers. Let's see which hashtag she's using. So e-commerce business tips, e-commerce tips, eCom, online business. And you can kind of see, and again, reverse engineer who your best competitors are who are already doing well and what hashtags they are using. Let's see what he's doing. So this one isn't really about e-commerce. Let's find one that is. This looks like options trading maybe. That's not e-commerce. He doesn't look like he's doing eCom. Let's pick somebody else. eCom Phil. Let's see what he's doing. So dropshipping, dropship, dropshipper. Not the best. This person, she doesn't really have a big following. 26,000 here with this guy. Let's see who he's using. Shopify, Shopify dropshipping, entrepreneurship, online business, online store, online, so this is just a way that you can kind of do hashtag research manually. That's 3 different methods I gave you. Again, search the hashtags, search the keywords, and then find people that are using those and what hashtags they're using, or find the best competitors and the people that are already doing well within your niche and your space, and then see what hashtags they're using, because chances are if they're doing well, it's working for them, or they've at least done some competitor research. Now that doesn't mean that if you go find somebody that's super popular and already doing well, and they're using some broad hashtag that's going to work for you. Obviously take it with context, use their longer tail ones, because they've, like I said, probably done their research on them. So that's the third way. And then the fourth way is to just use a software that's going to search for you and tell you which ones have opportunities, which ones are more competitive, which ones are less competitive, and give you other examples of keywords that are related. So Flick is a great one. They do charge you monthly, but it does come with a 7-day free trial. I will link the 7-day free trial to this lecture if you want to grab it. You don't have to pay. You can just use it for 7 days and then cancel if you want and just kind of test it out. It's really up to you. It is a great software. It also has scheduling, which is one of the most valuable things in my opinion, because that way you don't have to constantly be in front of your phone or in front of your computer to post when you want to post. You can schedule them out. It'll help you remain more consistent, which is beneficial on every platform. Consistency is key. So again, if we were doing e-commerce or selling on Amazon, for example, let's do that one. Let's say like Amazon seller, and we'll search that in there. Well, Amazon seller, here's some low competition ones. So Russell Brunson, if you don't know who he is, he created ClickFunnels. He's big in the online marketing and e-commerce space. Amazon seller lawyer, reseller revolution, Amazon reseller, selling on Amazon, Amazon handmade sellers. So these are all low competition and they're good opportunities. I do pick some medium competition from time to time. So Wi-Fi money, Amazon FBA life, retail arbitrage, make money from. So like a lot of these ones are ones that I might not necessarily have thought of if I was just trying to come up with them top of mind when I'm posting. So you need to use some software or some hashtag research strategy so that you're coming up with better hashtags. It's not going to pay immediate million view dividends, right? But if you do it consistently, it will pay off over time. I promise you. There's so much awful Instagram advice out there, and following this advice could be the exact reason that you're not growing and why you believe that the algorithm hates you. So what I'm going to do is outline the bad advice, explain, why it's bad and what you should be doing instead to actually achieve your goals on Instagram when you post. The first piece of outdated advice is not to post photos or static images. So yes, Reels is the main priority, and it's
a massive priority for a lot of you that are watching this, and they can still absolutely go viral. But recently, the head of Instagram has come out and publicly said that photos will get published as well, and they'll actually start pushing Reels a little bit less and photos a little bit more to level that out, because it's been the opposite for so long. And that means that you should be posting static images again, because it'll give you more opportunity to be seen in different areas. Even if your main goal is to grow with video content, right? In short form, you can reach a different potential viewer on IG by showing up in a different part of the platform, which ultimately can bring them into your ecosystem and help you get more views on future videos and grow. Plus, having more variety on your page will help nurture casual people that see something from you, right? And come to your page into actual loyal followers and hopefully customers. If all you're pumping out is viral-based content in the form of Reels, you might get visitors and viewers, right? And maybe even followers, but it's usually gonna stop there. Before we get into the next actual tip, it obviously goes without saying as well, you wanna avoid anything like scammy strategies like follow, unfollow, or engagement pods, or spam commenting. None of those work, and it will only hurt your organic reach if you end up doing them, which obviously defeats the entire purpose of why you're doing this in the first place. Most people usually know not to do these, but I just want to hit it home for sure. The next piece of terrible advice is pinning your most viral content to the top of your profile. I see this all the time on all sorts of platforms. So they recently gave us this feature to pin content at the top of our profiles, and this is an opportunity for you to nurture people that are just visiting your profile and finding you for the first time into actual followers and actual potential customers. A lot of people make the mistake of just pinning their most viral piece of content as a form of social proof, and here's why that's a bad idea. The chances are, if your post has gone viral, a lot of people that are visiting your profile have probably already seen it. So it's actually not helping you to convert them into a long-term viewer or a follower. Instead, what you want to do is really highlight your most valuable pieces of content that are more applicable and can help your key audience. What can you show them that's going to provide them a ton of value and make it extremely likely that they follow you, so you can nurture that relationship further with more posts and more reels, and then turn them into a fan or customer. The next piece of outdated advice, which I still people stressing over like crazy, is having like an aesthetic grid on their profile. I can't tell you how little this really matters, and so many people focus on this over the quality of individual pieces of their content. They care more about what the posts look like beside each other rather than the actual validity and content within them. And it's so silly. Now, if you're doing something where you're selling some sort of visual-based service, then yes, of course that makes sense, but the vast majority of us are not doing that. And how many people can you honestly say that you follow because of the aesthetic of their feed? Not very many, right? You're following that content or that person based on the value in the posts that you're seeing. The fifth piece of outdated advice that you should absolutely not be doing is teasing your new posts in your stories. A lot of people do this, myself included, even like recently, like a few months ago, but here's why that's bad and why you shouldn't do it. The more you do this, it will start to fatigue your audience to then skip your stories. And all you're doing is training them to assume that your stories don't mean anything. Instagram's tracking that, and that's a bad look for your stories and your engagement. And it wouldn't even matter anyway, because the majority of people that are actually viewing your stories are your most loyal followers anyway. So chances are they've already seen your posts. And so the more you do that, the less likely they are to see your stories and your posts in the future. Don't do it. So everyone wants to blow up on TikTok, and it really only takes one video posted at the right time to go viral, and that can change everything for you. But to do that, it's not luck, believe it or not. A lot of things have to go right within the algorithm, and one of those things is posting at the right time. So how do you know when the best time is for you to post on TikTok and when your audience is most active? So first, why it's important to get this right? And then I'll show you how to actually do that, is once you post a piece of content, TikTok is constantly doing little tests, as is every social media platform, to see if it's any good and see if people on the platform engage and respond to it. And if you know that your most ideal audience isn't even like awake or on the app currently at that time, then it can completely stall the growth of that video and exponentially crush the views and reach it will get. In the beginning, they're simply testing a small sample group of people to see if it's a good piece of content. And then based on that feedback and how long they've watched it and the engagement of it, that then dictates how far it gets pushed beyond that. So if you know that a post was made for a specific audience and they're asleep when you post or they're not as active, then the chances of it potentially going viral are super low. It's going to be a negative post and it's going to stop the push of that video, which you obviously don't want. So this is how you find the best times to post. You want to go into your account and then you want to click the top 3 bars on the right, and then you want to go to the creator tools and then your analytics. Now here you'll be able to navigate to your audience activity, or sometimes it's called followers depending on what account you have set up. And then from there, you'll be able to see your audience and when they're most active and online. Now you want to use these times as a good ideas as when you should be publishing content, and you don't actually want to publish it at the highest point. You want to publish it like a half hour to an hour before that. That way the right people are seeing it at the right time and you're giving your post the most chance to go viral and get maximum views. Another easy way to give yourself the most opportunity to grow is to simply post more. Now it's simple, but more posts obviously give you more chances to blow up. It's simple math. It's not always possible for everyone to post multiple times a day or even daily, so try to pick a number that you know is sustainable for you, even if that's less than once a day, right? And then just stick to that number that you can consistently do. Another pro tip is reposting. For some reason, people are under the impression that you can't repost if you've already posted something, but trust me, people do it all the time. It's super easy to do and it works. That doesn't mean you repost the same exact piece of content. For example, if you think a video was super valuable and it was a banger, but maybe it didn't perform the way you expected it to, well then try to repost it just slightly different. You want to adjust maybe the first 5 seconds or so of the video, which is often referred to as the hook, and then see if you can kind of capture a viewer's attention a little bit better to get more positive feedback early on, watch time and engagement, and that might be all you need to do to get that video to go viral. I've seen all different crazy examples of people doing different variations of the same video, and trust me, this works. Someone can post a video that gets a few hundred views and then they'll tweak it slightly and then it goes off and gets 1 million. This happens all the time. Now let's talk about hashtags briefly, because hashtags are obviously one of the criteria that all these platforms, especially TikTok, uses to determine who they want to show the content to, especially within that initial push, which can make all the difference. So we all know that hashtags are a tool that we can use to get our content to be shown to specific people. And if you know who your target market is, then you definitely want to be selective with the hashtags that you're using so that the right people can see your content and it can give the right indicators to TikTok in that initial push. Then when a lot of people respond positively within that niche and group, they'll show it to a lot more similar kinds of those people, which can be the snowball effect that you need. So for example, let's say you're posting a video that has cats in it. If you start using cat-related TikTok hashtags, they're smart enough to understand what that means, and the type of content that is within that is based on cats. And so a lot more people that are related to cats and cat lovers will start to see that video, and if they respond positively to it, well then it increases the chances that other cat lovers will see the video, which yes, that's great. That's what you want. But ultimately, it's more about TikTok finding a similar lookalike audience to that they can then push it out to. And that's how you go viral, lookalike audiences. So yes, hashtags isn't like this search function where people are searching these hashtags and then finding you. It's an indicator of the potential audience you want to serve it to. And then if it performs well, they use that to find lookalikes. That's the key. So obviously you might not be posting about cats, but you can apply that same approach to whatever the niche is that you are. Hope it helps. All right, so in this lecture, I'm going to show you a brief overview of me taking a YouTube video, right? So like a horizontal format, and resizing it into a vertical format and also cutting it into a short. Now, this is just going to be the basics. Obviously, you can take this and run with it. You can take different pieces of a clip. Often, if you take something from like a long podcast in the beginning and then like at the end and then in the middle, like you can mesh it together and make an entirely new story, an entirely new short. I'm going to keep it basic in this tutorial. We're just going to take a YouTube video, a part of it, and we're going to turn it into a short that you can then post on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. The two things that you're going to need here, the two programs, are CapCut, which we've covered in this course. If you don't have CapCut, again, you don't need to pay for this. Just don't upgrade, because if you upgrade to the latest version, they'll make you pay. So do not upgrade. If you download CapCut, you can use it free. If you do upgrade, I think it's like $7 a month or something like that. It's worth it. It's going to give you the captions. There's also a lot of other editing functionality of it that you can learn that's extremely worth it as well. But CapCut, and then editing software, I'm going to use Premiere Pro in this tutorial. You can use Final Cut Pro, iMovie, Shotcut's a free one. We've covered those already, but I'm going to use Adobe Premiere Pro. So I'm going to take a clip from my YouTube channel here. We're gonna take one that's a Q&A and cut out a small portion of that Q&A, and I'll show you how that works. Now, you could do this for anything, it doesn't really matter, but for this example, I'm gonna do this one. So now that we've uploaded the video in here, you can see it's just a normal YouTube video that's horizontal format in 1080 by 1920 or 1920 by 1080. So there's two ways that you can resize this. Obviously, before you drug it in there, you could take a template. I've shown you how to do that in the course, where you just go to a specific template that's sized that way. You can create it in Canva, which you can see here. It's just kind of like that 1080 by 1920 template. If you don't want to do it that way, it's totally fine. Once you drag that in there, then you can drag it over and then resize it very easily. That's an easy way as well. If you don't want to do it that way, another easy way is just drag your video into the sequence and then go into sequence settings, and then just change the frame size here for the sequence settings to 1080 by 1920 so that it's vertical instead of horizontal. If you wanted it horizontal, then you would change it to 1920 by 1080, right? But since we're going vertical for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, we're gonna go 1080 by 1920, hit OK. You'll see it then takes that video into a vertical format here that we can then drag around, play around with, space it out a little bit if we want to for certain things, but we're just gonna go back to the original right there, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do it. Now, I like to keep it, for me specifically, I like to keep it just like this so that you can drag it after, because we wanna make our cuts and keep it a specific way. I'll show you why. It's easier to resize all the individual clips when doing this, in my opinion, so that you don't have to go back and edit each clip to make sure that it's fine at the very end. This works a lot faster in my opinion, but again, you're gonna have to play around with it and see what works for you. So we're gonna go through, edit this really fast, take the first answer in this video, and then we'll resize it into a short or TikTok or Instagram reel. Welcome to the second episode of E-commerce Office Hours, where I answer some of your most common e-commerce questions. What amount do you mark? All right, so let's cut that part in the beginning. Another thing that I didn't cover is once you're in an editing software, keyboard shortcuts are a game changer. It's something I fought for so long, but it's really helped me speed up my edits. What amount do you mark your product? That might not sound good, but we'll try it. What amount do you mark your products up on each dropshipping website? So it really depends. So I'm going to get the question right there, and then as it kind of changes into me answering it, I'll cut it there so I can resize the other one a little bit bigger and a little different. It really depends site to site, honestly, on most. And sometimes, since my editor or I've already gone through a YouTube video and put B-roll in certain parts, sometimes I'll resize that a little bit differently. But again, I'll show you that here in a second. Sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically accounts for, see how there's a graphic right there on the left? So I want to show that, whether I shrink it down just to show that or I zoom in on that graphic, I want to show that. So I'm going to make sure I make a cut there with that graphic as it starts to arrive. There we go. Every product up like 40 to 60%. This tip. Then when it's done, that's the next frame. We'll cut there. And that way I know each one I need to resize. So I'll go back and do that at the appropriate time when I'm done answering. The increase in price on a supplier's website, if there are any in the future, but it also leaves me enough room for profit. On Poshmark specifically, though, I often mark my products up at least 80%. Sometimes. So with this graphic, I'm not going to resize it because it's still in the middle. So you'll see here that, like, I know that if I drag this out with the rest of the clip, you'll still be able to see it in the middle of this. But if it was like wider, then I would need to resize that in post. But since I'm not going to do that yet, I know that this is fine and they'll still be able to see it. Profit. On Poshmark specifically, though, I often mark my products up at least 80%, sometimes even double them to 100% markup, simply because the fees on there are a lot more and I need a lot more wiggle room. How can you create a second? All right, so that's the first answer, very short. How can you? So now we're going to delete this. A lot more wiggle room. And then I'm going to add a transition here. I like to do that at the end sometimes. I play around with it. Sometimes you honestly don't want to transition because you want them to keep watching it. So you don't want there to be a clear distinction for the end of the video in case you get repeat watches, but just something to keep in mind. I'm going to delete the part of the transition that's on the audio because we don't want that. We just want a visual transition. These on there are a lot more and I need a lot more wiggle room.
All right, there we go. So now for this portion of the video, at the very end here, you can see that none of it needs to be, I don't need to worry about any graphics. So I can resize this. I'm going to go to a portion where I'm talking. I'm going to click in the video. I'm going to click on the actual specific part of that video in the timeline, then click in the video like I just did, and you'll see the video pop up, and you can then just drag and resize it so it fits. And then if you want to center it a little bit, there you go. And now we're going to go back to the beginning here, and I'm going to resize this once the question is full in there. You can do this a number of different ways, right? Like you could create an entirely new graphic here and then put it in if you wanted to do that. What I do is I like to just resize it so that when it's done reading, you just make sure that it's as big as possible so that they can still read it. Let me show you.
What amount do you mark your products up on each dropshipping website? So
that's about as big as it gets right there. For this one, I'm going to then, again, drag myself out. And then for this one, I believe I needed to resize this. So there's multiple ways that you can approach this here.
I'll mark every product up.
See how this portion of the video on the left here is the graphic that I need to display. So you could literally drag it over like that, make it bigger if you wanted to, and then just focus on the graphic. Sometimes I'll do that.
On most sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically...
So that works. You could do it that way if you wanted to, or you could go back, resize it smaller if you like this better, and make sure that they could still see the graphic.
Sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically accounts.
So if you wanted to do it that way, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it this way and make sure that it shows this. And then we're going to put a transition here so that it kind of looks like it slides over that way. So let's find a good transition. So we want to go into effects. And obviously this is not like a Premiere Pro or an editing tutorial. This is just me showing you how I would go through it. You can learn all these things very, very quickly. The key is just not overwhelm yourself and try to learn too many things at once. I'm by no means a great editor, but I'm just adding pieces every single day. And then you kind of had a bunch of pieces that you can play around with and you get better and better. So we're going to go into effects. We're going to find a video transition that looks good to make it seem like it's kind of sliding into that piece as well. Another good tip is if you add sound effects, it also keeps and captivates the audience's attention and makes it look like the cut was purposeful. So that's another way as well. So let's find a video transition first. Let's try wipe and pick one of these. Let's see what wedge wipe looks like. So we'll drag it over there.
Most sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%.
So that looked okay, but I wasn't in love with it. Let's try this one. Is that Venetian blinds?
On most sites, I'll mark every product up.
It was all right. How about push? That might be a good one.
On most sites, I'll mark every product.
There we go. All right, so push kind of looked like I did that on purpose, right? See how it moved over?
On most sites, I'll mark every product.
There you go. Easy. Now, what we want to do is we're going to go back to the project, and then we're going to add a sound effect. Now, you can go to YouTube if you need sound effects and just type in whatever you're looking for. Obviously, you're going to need to have to think about specific sound effects or specific noises. So I believe one of the ones that I did was like the smack sound effect. I'll show you a few that I have just downloaded in here. I usually don't save them, but I've started to since I've been editing a lot more recently. So like you can see I have a cash register that's like cha-ching, the DJ stop, which is like to get your attention, like that's something stopping. You have the whoosh fly-in, which is the one that we're going to use, and then the wrong buzzer sound effect as well. So you want to slowly, again, just add pieces. You don't need to go out and download a bunch. Add them as you go when you need them, and then you'll have a file and you'll be able to build it up. So we use the whoosh fly-in and drag this down. It's probably going to be a little bit too loud, so we're going to need to adjust the audio. So
honestly, on most sites, I'll mark every...
See, it looked like it was like it like zipped over, and the sound effect was good. So let me show you. That might be a little bit loud, but we'll see.
Site, honestly, on most sites, I'll mark every product up.
It's actually not too bad, so I'm going to keep it. And so now we have that transition there, and now everything looks pretty good. So now we could keep it that way, but one more thing to add a little bit of like audience retention is add some background sound effects. Now you can use the YouTube sound effects library. So if you go to like Google and you type in, I forget what to type in because I haven't used this in a while, like YouTube royalty free music library.
There's a library of hundreds or thousands. There we go, the YouTube audio library. And any one of these audio tracks you can use completely free. And then you download them right here. You can play around with them. You can search through right here and figure out which ones you want. You can search by specific genre as well. So this is a great place to go. Another place that is a great place to go is if you just go to YouTube and you type in royalty-free music and you make sure that the artist is giving you the music to use for free that's royalty-free, you can typically use that as long as you have an attribution or you give it to them, right? So a few good examples of this would be like no copyright sounds. There's literally hundreds or thousands. No copyright sounds is a good one. There's a bunch of other ones out there that you can kind of look through. Once you click on one, you'll start to get suggested more and more, and so you'll be able to see them. So like watch, let's click on this video and see. If you click in here, you'll see that this is no copyright sound, obviously, and it's free to use. You can download it right there if you want to. And when it just says when you're using it, just please add this to your description. Okay. Now, if you scroll over here on the side, you're probably going to get suggested a bunch more. And that's kind of how I found a lot of mine. Another way that you can do it is like bensound.com is another great one that's free. There's also royalty-free music libraries that you can search if you just Google them, or you can pay for a service if you want, but you don't have to do that. Again, you could just Google this stuff. It's really easy to find. So that's how I found those. Now, if we go back to put some sound effects in, let's go background music. Only have a few here. And let's try someone. See how this sounds. Drag it in there. I'm going to make sure it hits right away. So we'll clip the part where it doesn't start out, and then we'll drag it over. Now it's going to be way too loud and my voice is going to be way too low, so we need to adjust it.
What amount do you mark your
See? And you also want to make sure that you pick a track that fits, but for the sake of saving your time, we won't really try to find the perfect track right now. So I'm going to go negative. I'm going to adjust the sound by, if you didn't see what I did, I just right-clicked. I went to audio gain. And then in the adjust gain by, I'm going to drop this like -16 because that typically sounds pretty good.
What amount do you mark your products up on each dropshipping website? So it really depends site to site on.
That doesn't really fit very well, honestly, but you'd find a good track and then you would delete it at the end so that it's streamlined. You could put an audio transition at the end if you wanted to, like that, so it kind of fades out. I'm not going to put this in there because it doesn't really sound very well, but I would find a good track that did sound good. And then once I had that track, if we go back, you want to make sure that you select all your audio here and then raise the gain so that you can still hear yourself talking even though it's background audio. So you want to raise the gain by like 4 to 5, maybe 6, depending. Again, play around with it, see what it sounds like. Don't just listen to it on the speaker on your computer. Put your headphones in, listen to it on your headphones, then listen to it on the speaker. Make sure that it sounds good for both of those.
What amount do you mark your products up on each dropshipping website? So it really depends.
All right, let me try to actually... Let me try to find a better sound effect just to show you as an example. So let's use Wonder. I think this one will sound better. Let's try it. I want to show you the final product. Remember, we already raised the gain on the audio for when I'm speaking. So now we're going to lower the gain here since I didn't do it on this clip. We'll go over to the end, cut it. Ripple, delete it out. And here's what the final product will probably look like.
What amount do you mark your products up on each dropshipping website? So it really depends site to site, honestly. On most sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically accounts for any increase in price on a supplier's web. And obviously that's just me talking till the end. So that's what the final product's going to be. It's about 30 seconds long. And now we need to take it into CapCut and put captions there now. Now, is this amazing? Could I charge somebody like 10 grand for this video? No, of course not, but it does the job. This is for those of you that are doing this on your own, that don't have an editing team, that don't want to hire an editor yet, or you're doing it and you're starting to build pieces and you need the basics so that you can start your own agency, right? This is the basics. This is exactly how you do it. Now you want to export the media. And then when this is done exporting, we're going to take it into CapCut and we're going to put some captions on it because you might think that you don't need that. In a lot of ways you won't. Like sometimes your videos will hit with no captions. Sometimes your caption videos won't do anything, but typically speaking, generally, if you put captions on it, it's going to engage the audience more and it's going to increase your audience retention, which again, could be that snowball effect. If your audience retention is like 5% more because of captions, it could be the difference that, helps blow your video up. So now that it's done exporting, we're going to open up CapCut. We're going to open a new project in CapCut and we're going to import it. Drag it down into the timeline, and now we're going to use CapCut to put the captions on it. So once it's down in the timeline, you want to go up to text like I've shown you before, and then make sure that you auto caption it and just click create. It's going to auto caption your entire video, which is kind of mind-blowing and really cool. And now you just want to kind of edit the text so that it looks a little bit better. I don't like any of this basic text anymore. I used to use it a lot. You can bold it or make it bigger, but I'm going to go over to effects and make it kind of look a little bit cooler. I've been playing around with some of these lately. I think they look a little bit better. It doesn't need to be anything fancy or crazy. Just find one that you think looks good and roll with it. So now I'm going to go back into this, since I put all the, like, you'll see that it's all the same. If you wanted to change a specific word, right, or you wanted to change a specific portion of that caption, you'll see how they're broken up. What you can do is click in there and then either delete it or change the specific word into a different color, change the caption. So for example, if you see a lot of TikToks, like you'll see different words or different colors, that's how you do it. You do a template like this, and then you go back and manually change them into different formats or different colors, or you add emojis or animation. It's very easy, all within CapCut to do. Just play around with it. You can learn it very quickly. I'm not going to do that for this video. But what I am going to do is in the beginning here, when it's asking the question, I don't need these, right? So I can delete this one. You'll see this one selects, delete that, delete that. What amount do you mark your products up? Because you don't need the caption reading when it's already reading in the video. Each dropshipping website. So it really depends site to site, honestly. On most sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically accounts for any increase in price on a supplier's website, if there are any in the future. But it also leaves me enough room for profit. I'm also going to mark every, probably delete this one because it's also not needed. Most sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically accounts for any increase in price on a supplier's website, if there are any in the future, but it also leaves me enough room for profit. On Poshmark specifically though, I often mark my products up at least 80%. So I'm going to delete that too because it's not needed. Enough room for profit. On Poshmark, you want them focused on the graphic a lot of times if you have a good one. Specifically though, I often mark my products up at least 80%, sometimes even double them to 100% markup, simply because the fees on there are a lot more and I need a lot more wiggle room. All right, there you go. And now we're done. And so now all you do is you export it and you name it. And that's how you take a long form YouTube video that's horizontal and redo it into a TikTok, Instagram reel, or YouTube short very easily using one editing platform and CapCut. What amount do you mark your products up on each dropshipping website? So it really depends site to site, honestly. On most sites, I'll mark every product up like 40 to 60%. This typically accounts for any increase in price on a supplier's website, if there are any in the future, but it also leaves me enough room for profit. On Poshmark specifically though, I often mark my products up at least 80%, sometimes even double them to 100% markup, simply because the fees on there are a lot more and I need a lot more wiggle room. All right, so whether you're drop shipping on somewhere like TikTok or Pinterest or wherever using a Shopify store and the link in your bio, or if you're drop shipping on TikTok shops directly on TikTok, what you do in the beginning is you need ads, obviously, if you're running ads, or at the very least, you need high quality videos so that you can run those videos to generate organic traffic, but the videos have to be good, right? And so one of the best things that you can do in the beginning is purchase video ads from companies like bandsofads.com here or